The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, as Anthony does Product Placement 101, yes. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you need to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. They have a great service department, a great finance department, a great sales department. Add all three of them up, great dealership.
Plus, they have really awesome cars.
Yeah, they do. That's they're not too shabby. If you love Chevrolets, whoa, boy, do they get a good, really, really good selection of Chevys. They also have a bunch of other companies. I think they had a Ford Mustang when I passed by a couple of days ago. I passed by the dealership and I saw a Ford Mustang there.
My heart beats for the Camaro. And
the Camaros are nice. The new Camaros, wow, are they nice.
give me a nice yellow one with the black racing stripes.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Yellow.
Yellow, Bumblebee.
All right.
Gotta.
All right.
I'm a big Transformers nerd, Ron.
Okay,
so-
I understand that. I understand that. Now,
especially back in the 80s cartoon.
did you stop watching Transformers when Megan Fox was kicked off after the first one?
No, because I was always I'm like, as a nerd, you want to see what the robots are doing. I never really cared about.
Okay, so you didn't care about the humans.
No,
you
I
just
mean,
cared more about the robots.
I mean, if you're watching Transformers for plotline, then you have some problems. You know, watch it for the
it's kind of like watching porn and you're watching for the plot line. You have something wrong with you, son. That's all there is to it. All right, 330-886-0813. I'm not saying that it was just a comparison.
Let it go.
It was just a comparison. All right, plenty of basketball. I was telling you off the air yesterday. I went to two games. I went to a junior high basketball game, and I went to a boys varsity basketball game, and both of them had the exact reason why the two teams lost. You couldn't hit your free throws, especially 1-and-1 free throws, and at the end of the day, you couldn't box out and get rebounds, and you allowed teams to get 3 and 4 different opportunities, and you add those two things up, you're bound to lose ball games. It just is what it is.
Yeah, and this is an important week because this is the week before teams get seeded, and you want your record to be as pristine as possible heading into Saturday and Sunday. So, when you make mistakes like that and lose a game that you probably could have won, it's gonna come back.
Yeah, last night
come back to bite you.
Yeah, last night Larry and I were broadcasting the Hubbard Crestview game, and they let one get away last night. Crestview did. Although I'll congratulate Hubbard. They only played 8 games prior to last night, so they're going to go into the tournaments probably somewhere in the vicinity of 12 or 13 games. Man, that's tough. And it's been a long year for those kids.
And Hubbard is not alone. I mean, a lot of those Trumbull County schools, they were shut down for the whole month of December, and some of them are still having little spurts of COVID problems here as we go through the season. I mean, we learned this morning that Girard is going to be shut down for a minute, I think till the 13th. So, I mean, they missed the whole month of December, and they're missing weeks of games here now.
Yeah, and it's tough if you're going to be shut down right now because of COVID. Now you're going right up against the end of the regular season. That's if you're a boys program. If you're a girls program and you're shut down right now, that's
scary.
That's catastrophe. That's borderline catastrophe.
And we have unconfirmed reports that maybe Warren Harding is a girls program that might have to take a pause, and that's scary for Canfield because they just played last night. Probably the game of the night. I don't think that's going to be disputed. Warren Harding and Canfield, tight game all the way throughout. Canfield forced overtime. They had a 2-point lead with about 9 seconds to go, and man, Kamara Bender just said, you know what, I'm going to call a game, step back 3 in the corner, bang.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
She hit 3 of them, but the biggest one was the step back 3 from the baseline. That was the dagger. Harding beats Canfield in overtime. That was a buzzer bomb.
Bender buzzer beaters.
Yeah.
I'd say that 10 times fast.
Yeah. The Bender buzzer beater was the winner for Harding. They go to 12-1 on the campaign. Canfield falls to 9-7, but Canfield showing that even though they're 9-7, they are going to be a factor in this tournament.
It just proves how deep that Division I, bracket really is. When you have even Boardman, who we're going to see play Salem tonight, we're going to get a measuring stick on where Boardman's at because they've been shut down for about a week or so. But you've had Boardman, who's the 25 seed, give the 8 seed 12-1 Warren Harding a 4-point game. It's a really deep bracket, and it's one of those ones where, it's a cliche almost in the other ones, but in Division I, any given day, someone can come up and beat you if you don't show up.
Yeah, it was a solid win for Harding last night. But again, it just proves that Canfield and Boardman they're going to be solid, and I think this is going to be an interesting tournament. Speaking of Boardman, they got a victory over Cheney last night. They go to 5-12 on the campaign. Poland got a win over Liberty.
I did that game, and Poland was in trouble for a minute.
Yeah.
They hadn't played in about a week and a half, and the rust was very evident. Liberty jumped out to a 25-11 lead, and then Poland went on a 26-0 run between the second and third quarter. And then, props to Liberty. That young team, even after Poland did that, they kind of put together a little run, cut it to 6. I believe it was 41-35, and then Poland ended the game on like a 17-6 run. So, I mean, Liberty was down a couple players. They're really young, and they really showed a lot of heart last night going up against one of the Goliaths in the area.
Yeah.
And giving them a pretty quality game, a really physical game as well.
Yeah. Now, Liberty is known for, if Poland misses a shot or if a team misses a shot, they get a rebound, and they're automatically sending someone furthest away from the basket. They're automatically running toward their basket to try to get a fast break bucket.
And that's how they got a lot of their points in the first quarter last night. Aaliyah Foster she's fast, she's got good size, and she gave Poland a lot of problems in transition, getting back into position and getting her a good look, a layup under the boat. She scored 17 points for the Leopards. So her and Demi Watson, like I said, young team. Demi Watson's a freshman, and she runs the point for them. They can really run, and they're built. So they're not someone that you can just get in front of and take a charge from because that's going to hurt.
Yeah. It's a fun team to watch. And like I said, when I saw them beat Crestview in Crestview and did it impressively, I said at the time that if those freshman players stick together and take the sport seriously, they have a very good chance at being one of the 4 best teams in Division III by the time they're seniors.
If they get healthy, they can make some noise in that. But I believe they're in the Northeast 2 bracket. If they get healthy and they don't have to worry about being 8 deep, because foul trouble got them last night as well. They were in foul trouble at halftime. So if they can get healthy, I don't know exactly what the injury situation is down there. If they have girls that are only going to be out for a week, or if they have girls that are out for the season. But if they can get healthy and get a little bit deeper, they can definitely make some noise in that bracket.
Well, I know the DiNardo girl wasn't playing last night. And that's and she's a big part of that.
Lorden DiNardo,
Yeah.
she played.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the ones that didn't play, I can't remember names. I just remember numbers.
Okay.
Number 2, I got the roster here. I can go over it.
Yeah, there's a couple of impressive players on that team. Cardinal Mooney hosted.
Sienna Smith did not play for them.
Okay.
And I didn't see Madison Thompson either.
Gotcha.
So a couple players down. You're already a thin team. They only had 8 players total on the active roster. So
Yeah.
it was tough. It was tough.
No doubt. Cardinal Mooney welcomed in West Branch, and Mooney played him extremely, extremely tough. West Branch escapes the south end of Youngstown with a 43-39 victory over Cardinal Mooney. West Branch 15-4 on the campaign. Cardinal Mooney is a D2 team.
9 seed.
Yeah, and they're the 9 seed, so you get an idea of just how deep Division II is as
Right.
well.
And I think that game might have opened the eyes a little bit of teams like West Geauga and Poland and the teams on that top half of that Northeast 1 bracket that are going to maybe have some trouble with Mooney just to get into the district semifinals.
Indeed. Leetonia got a victory over Sebring, 55-41. Tarrant Ferry nailed down 19 points, ripped down 11 rebounds. Ella Gregorino chipped in with 12 points. The Bears, I still say that
Double-double
if
for
they
Tarrant
can get another option. I know Megan Roscoe had 8 points. Haley Brock had 7 points last night. If one of those two steps up and becomes a third option, I think the Bears could be a whole lot of fun in this postseason. But we'll see.
They're already going to be something to be contended with because they're a little bit underseeded at 10, and that's always scary. And Tarrant Ferry, double-double, she can score, but she can go in there and get rebounds as well for your team. So you always like the ball handlers that can go in and get rebounds because then you don't have to worry about an outlet pass. You just get it and go, and you can run the offense.
Yeah, the Bears pick up a victory last night. Lowville got a win last night as well. They beat Lisbon 45-33. It's been an interesting season for Lowville in that they were shut down a couple of times because of COVID. Lisa Ratuno Medelsky, the head basketball coach,
Did not coach, by the way, because she got ejected from the Waterloo game on Saturday, so she has to sit for 2 games and
oh wow,
go down to anger management and do I think the fine is $250, something like that, for if you get ejected.
I wouldn't know. I was never ejected from a game.
I know, but you're in those referee thing. I thought you might know what the fine is.
It is. It's either
fine.
$200 or $250, and I think the school normally takes care of that.
So,
but yeah, the anger management thing, I've never understood that. I mean, it's just like, are you kidding me?
They used to make you go down to Columbus for it, but now with COVID, I'm sure it's virtual.
Yeah, that's just.
But yeah, so. To get a big win over, a quality Lisbon team, I think it was on the road, and to do it without your head coach, it says a lot.
So Lowville gets a 12-point victory, over Lisbon, and they move to 5-6 on the campaign. Yet another team that has had 2 bouts with COVID.
No seniors on that team.
No,
by the way,
this potentially could be a really fun team to watch, but unfortunately in Lowville they lack height. I think their biggest kid is 5'7" or 5'8".
That, and unfortunately they just have a rough conference to be in. But if they just take their lumps a little bit this year and learn and grow, next year they're returning everybody, and they could be a team that can go to the top of that conference real quick. As soon as McDonald and the Western Reserve lose, their senior course.
Speaking of McDonald, Molly Howard got her 1,000th point last night. Congratulations. Fantastic job. They beat Garrettsville Garfield 65-47. Garrettsville Garfield, this was an interesting game because the G-men, they're 11-3. They're a formidable foe.
Yeah, and I think no disrespect to Garfield, but I think it proves that there's a little bit of gap between the 1 and the 2 seed in that Division 3, and I think it's quite apparent because McDonald's a solid team, but they shouldn't blow out a 2 seed in Division III like that if you're up to stuff. And it's going to be how interesting that Northeast 2 division bracket is going to be, because you got champion in there. You got more teams that have a legitimate chance of winning the district than you do up in the Northeast 1 bracket.
Yeah, this is Division 3 is going to be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
And obviously McDonald is Division 4. They're the number 1 seed in Division 4. Listen, they've earned that number 1 seed.
Oh, absolutely.
They're a very good basketball team, and I'll be curious to see if anyone can slow this team down. And as Tony Mattisi made a point to say, in this new format, McDonald is playing a home game. As long as they're in the tournament, they have a home game all the way through the district championship, and they've earned that right. So that's a good win. That's a solid win for McDonald. And if you're a D3 team with aspirations of winning a district, you look at this and go, okay.
Yeah, if you're
Garfield just got beat by McDonald, and frankly, it was a 14-point halftime lead for McDonald. So this was not a game that got away from them late. They were getting blown out early in the game, and it just never recovered.
And everything's not always equal, because you can't. I mean, West Branch beat McDonald, and then Garfield also gave West Branch a really good game in the beginning of the season. So you can't just say, hey, okay, McDonald beat them, so we can beat them. But at the same sense, it takes the chink out of Garfield's armor a little bit if you're in that district.
Well, and I also think it proves that matchups are very real.
You're right.
I mean, if you don't have the size to match up or the speed to match up with McDonald, you're not a good matchup. So I don't know what Garfield has, but apparently it was not a good matchup, because they lost to McDonald by 18 points. Now, again, they could have had an off day.
In Garfield, right?
Yeah, in Garrettsville. This was an eye opener for sure. Another eye opener was in boys basketball. You and I spoke about this, wondering, okay, what happens if Warren JFK is able to give Struthers a decent game? Kennedy's only played 6 games this year. They're going to be nowhere near 15 games when this tournament season starts. They'll probably be closer to 10 games. I don't know if that's going to hurt them or not, but I can tell you this. After getting blown out in the first quarter 25-12, JFK blew Struthers out in the second quarter 24-14, and they were only down 39-36 at halftime. Now, granted, they got beat by 17, but that first half, after bouncing back from a 13-point shellacking in the first quarter, and to find yourself only down by 3 at halftime, this JFK team is going to pose some problems in Division 4.
I think it also proves how hard Struthers is going to be to beat, because you can have a good quarter against them, you can have a good half against them, but it seems like teams this season, if they've had a good half, they've had a good quarter, but it's just so hard to put together a complete good game against Struthers. They wear you down completely with their physicality and their defense and their weapons on offense. They're going to be really hard to put together 4 quarters of a really consistent good game against in the tournament.
Well, and plus they have 3 options.
Right.
Brandon Washington had 15 last night. Trey Metzger had 11 points last night. Aiden Slocum had 22 points last night. Ronnie Leonard had 9 points last night. There's 3 or 4 different options that Struthers has. And, oh, by the way, they play some really good defense. The second quarter notwithstanding. You take the second quarter away, Kennedy scored 33 points in 3 quarters. That's pretty solid defense.
Yeah. And you also, you're 1 point away from 4 people being in the double figures.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just tough to match up against.
No doubt. That is a very, very interesting team that Struthers has.
They better be the 1 seed.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no 2 ways about this. If they're not the 1 seed, there's a serious investigation going on.
We're gonna whip out our magnifying glasses.
Yeah.
In our sleuth costumes.
Yeah.
On Monday.
I'll get my pipe and
I'll get my trench coat.
Yeah.
And I'll be Columbo and you can be Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. I'll get my pipe and go, Columbo.
It's elementary, my dear ones.
Yeah. Columbo, what do you think of all this stuff going on?
We do not condone the use of smoking and tobacco on YSN's Running Point.
Yeah, Columbo, let me give you a ring. It's probably the only ring you'll ever get. There it is.
There it is.
Speaking of rings, Newton Falls is looking to get a conference championship ring in the MVAC gray tier. They played last night in a non-conference game against Mineral Ridge. Now, the Falls is going to be busy because they're in Crestview on Friday night to play the Rebels, who lost to Hubbard, and we broadcast that game. That was a late addition to the broadcast last night. I got word of it 2 hours before the game, and I called Larry up and said, "You get the equipment?" "Yeah." "Well, let's go over to Crestview and let's broadcast the game tonight." "What game?" "Oh, the game against Hubbard." "Well, I thought it was next week." "Nope, it's tonight."
Nope, tonight.
Oh, there you go.
All right,
so we
go.
went over there, and weirdly enough, I promised Coach Windrum that I would do the book for the boys' junior high game at Leetonia. So that game started at 5. I thought it started at 4:30. So I'm like, all right, refs, call a quick game. Don't call any fouls. No, they wouldn't do that. Why would they? So by the time I got to Crestview, it was late in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, oh, man.
For the JV game.
Late in the fourth quarter for the JV game. So I'm like a madman scribbling down names and whatnot and then trying to get starting lineups. And, but we put it together.
That's one of the things that makes YSN so versatile. Our setup, not very complicated.
No.
We can set up in about 10 minutes if we're doing everything right, and if everything goes smoothly, that's what makes us really able to handle this kind of season where everyone's getting games on the fly, because we can call someone up 3 hours before the game. It's not ideal. We don't want to make a habit of it, but we can say, hey, you have equipment? Yeah, okay. Can you go to Crestview? Oh, yeah, sure. And then they can just be like, okay, they get there and set up in the matter of a couple minutes.
Yeah, and there you go. Now, long story short on all of this, Newton Falls made a trip to Mineral Ridge last night. Mineral Ridge was 5-7 going into this game. Newton Falls was 10-3. Mineral Ridge not only beat them, they beat them down 54-42. I don't know what in the world happened. I don't know if Newton Falls was looking ahead in the calendar a few days to their game against Crestview on Friday night. But this is one of those games where you shake your head, you give all the credit in the world to Mineral Ridge, but then you wonder, how could this possibly happen this late in the season? But then you're dealing with 15 to 18-year-old kids.
42, that's a low number, so it could have just been one of those nights where, man, shots are just not falling for us. And
well, they went 3 of 8 from the free throw line, so there's
just nothing you can do when you're even if you're getting good looks and they're just not going down. It's like, man, we just got to keep shooting and hope, and then they never fall. So
one good thing is they do play good defense, and they always play good defense at Newton Falls. Now, if you're a Crestview fan, you look at this and you're like, okay, they're going to be angry, and Newton Falls is normally a pretty solid basketball team when they're coming off a loss. So this will be interesting Friday night.
Crestview fans are like, why couldn't they play Mineral Ridge next week? Come on.
Although the Rebels are in a similar situation, like I said, they lost to Hubbard 58-50. It was a game that was going back and forth. Hubbard had the upper hand for most of the night, but Crestview had an opportunity. And the weird thing is they did a really nice job shooting free throws all night long, but they had 2 1-and-1s down 4 late in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't convert either one of them. And that, along with giving up an offensive rebound and having to foul and the 2 free throws made, that was the backbreaker for this team.
I think that the difference between those 2 losses is you got to imagine that Newton Falls really expected to win against Mineral Ridge. And record exciting, Crestview playing Hubbard, that's 2 divisions up. Well,
one division up.
One division up. But, Hubbard's schedule is a lot tougher than Crestview, so you got to think, hey, let's go compete against this team and go and play the Division II team, and you want to win, but I don't think it was as much of maybe a mental upset as Mineral Ridge beating Newton Falls was.
I agree with that. Although, Crestview let one get away last night.
They
certainly did. But It'll be interesting to see what happens on Friday, how they bounce back, and how Newton Falls bounces back.
Someone's got to bounce back.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. And I think Crestview now 7-9 on the campaign. Newton Falls is 10-4. And props to Newton Falls. Like the rest of the schools in Trumbull County, they were all shut down in the month of December. Newton Falls will be able to get minimum 15 games into their schedule, which that's a feather in the hat.
And it's great that we can highlight Newton Falls today, because we're going to be talking to their girls coach a little bit later, and we're going to have a lot of Newton Falls talk today, which is a school that we just don't get to talk about too much during football season and fall season. So now both their basketball teams are geared up for a 3 seed in girls, and we'll see what they're seeding in the boys. And it's great to kind of shine a light on one of the teams that we didn't really get to talk about a lot in the fall sports season.
Yeah, and Newton Falls girls, they have a date in Crestview tonight, and they're coming off that loss, Newton Falls, coming off that loss against Brookfield. Yep. If they have any hopes of catching Brookfield, now they play them again, if I'm not mistaken. Newton Falls and Brookfield play each other one more time.
I think that was the season sweep when Brookfield beat them.
Okay. If they have any hopes of beating or catching Brookfield, they can't lose another game.
Yeah, they already have what they have. They're 3-4 in the MVAC now. Newton Falls.
No, I thought they only had 2 losses.
We'll look that up before we talk to Coach Baker on the MVAC website.
Yeah, because I know that Crestview has lost their share of games in the in the MVAC, but I didn't think that Newton Falls had lost a lot of games in the MVAC this year.
We also have the Brookfield head coach, Ken Forsyth, calling in very soon. He's scheduled at 12:30. So we're going to be talking to Brookfield and Newton Falls back-to-back, the top 2 teams in that conference. So it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, I mean, now these records are unofficial. Newton Falls 4-2, Brookfield 7-1.
All right,
So,
what's their overall record for Newton Falls?
Newton Falls is 6-3 overall.
Okay.
Yeah, Crestview 3-4 in the league, 10-7 overall. So this will be entertaining to say the least.
And like I said, a 3 seed in Division 3. I'm in Division 4.
Yeah.
For Newton Falls.
Yeah, that's again. This will be a tough game, and as I mentioned, if they have any hopes of catching Brookfield, they can't afford to lose another game. So Newton Falls is going to have to play damn near perfect the rest of the regular season in conference play in order to have any hopes of catching Brookfield and getting at least a tie for the crown.
They got to hope the Brookfield stubs their toe twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
Because they don't play them again, so they don't have the opportunity to do it themselves.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Newton Falls is in Crestview tonight, and Larry and I will have that game. That'll be an awful lot of fun. And once we really haven't even talked much about this, and that's the fact that the OHSAA has, like in football, they have announced that once you're eliminated from the tournament, that the regular season can continue, and you can play basketball through mid-March, through the time of a state championship weekend, and then that's it. The season is over, and you can finish out your 22-game regular season schedule. Now, I don't know how many teams are going to be wanting to do that.
We talked about it. I think it's going to be a lot less than we saw in football, but I think some of these teams that played less than 13 games might have an honest conversation with their seniors and their players, because we felt like 6 games in football was shorting the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
You weren't playing a complete season. You only get 10. But we thought maybe 13 was that number that you thought maybe you were shorting your players' games if you got to that as a basketball team.
No, I absolutely agree with that. All right, we go to the phone lines right now. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Good afternoon and welcome in to Running Point.
Hi, this is Coach Forsyth from Brookfield calling in.
Coach, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you, sir?
Well, I don't know if I'm as good as you are, being that you knocked off Newton Falls and you're And you're in the Catbird seat in the Gray Division, Coach.
Yeah, we're playing pretty well right now. I mean, for a young group of girls, and it's coming together slowly but surely.
Talk about that game against Newton Falls and kind of what the team went through, and from your perspective, what were the keys to that victory?
The keys, and everybody in the area knows it's Sophie Hook kind of makes us go sometimes, and it was huge for a couple other girls to step in and help us out. Like Katie Logan played a huge game for us, and Abby DeJoy stepped up and played a great game. And Sophie wasn't our leading scorer, which goes to show really how deep we are and how much talent we really do have.
Coach, as you go further and further into league play and get ready for the tournament, talk a little bit about this league as a whole, because I've been raving about the fact there's 3 or 4 teams in this league that are poised to make some really good tournament runs, including your team.
Yeah, I think our league as a whole is deep. I've said it all along. I think any given night, any of us could beat anybody. We went through the league schedule the first time and beat everybody, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if the second time we went through and we could have very easily lost every game. I think with the coaching and the players in the league, it's really a really, really strong league. Every team's loaded with talent, and it's some of the best coaches in the area in this league.
Coach, you go to champion tonight. What kind of challenges do you think the Golden Flashes pose, and what do you expect from that game tonight?
It will be a battle. I mean, it's Coach Cole does a great job over there. He'll have his girls ready to go. It's the thing what's going to bother us most tonight is their height. They are a bigger team than us, and if we play their style of game, we're going to be in trouble because we have nobody who can guard Witt in the post. So if they pound the ball, we let her get the ball inside, we're going to be in trouble for a long night, and that's the key tonight's going to be is the pace of the game.
Coach, I know that you never want to look forward, but Sunday the tournaments, the draw was announced, the seeds were announced. As you look at the tournament bracket, and I know it's still a ways down the road, but as you look at the tournament bracket, what are your feelings toward where you were seated, the spot that you kids and your kids are going to be in this upcoming tournament?
I thought we got a decent draw. I mean, we decided to go to the South Range side of the brackets just because I figured everybody else would try to stay away from them. And I mean, again, you want to get anywhere, you got to beat South Range, and they are one of the best teams in the area. They're well coached. But where we're sitting, we got Mogador first, which they're a decent team. It's going to give us some challenges. They're guards and match up with us pretty well. And then next, I think United, if we win that, United got a bye waiting on us, and we played them the first game of the year, and they battled us, and we lost to them last year. They're well coached, and I think that'll be a challenging game for us, just because they're a little bit bigger than us. They got a couple guards that can match up with our guards, and the key to that's going to be it's going to be tempo. I mean, if we could play our type of game, we're going to be okay. But if we try to slow the ball down and play their type, it'll be a dogfight. Then after that, you're either going to have probably LeBray, Crestview, or Waterloo waiting on you, and there are 3 pretty good teams too. So I mean, it's not an easy road for us to get anywhere. And in a given night, we could lose any of those games.
Coach, you said before you're a young team. You got a lot of young talent that I think everyone in the area is starting to know about. But we would be remiss if we didn't ask about your senior leaders before we talked about them, because I'm sure you know that with a young team, the senior leadership that you have is so important to kind of show them the standard and grow them throughout the season. So talk about your 3 seniors and what they kind of bring to the program.
My 3 seniors are, they've accepted their roles, and it's a good thing that and they help our little girls out of practice, your young girls out of practice, and they teach them the ropes. And that's all I can ask of them. I mean, they've been great. Autumn Sorochman, who started every game for us, has really just started playing basketball again last year, and for the season she's having is terrific because, again, she's come a long way. Michaela Jumper, she comes off the bench for us, gives us good minutes, and again, she's accepted her role. And I mean, every day of practice, she's there helping our young girls. If they don't understand something. and that goes a long way. And Casey Miller, who's our third senior, she don't play a lot, but she gives us a look in practice. I mean, she, every day she's in there practicing hard, and she's working against our starters, and our first couple girls off the bench are, they're all working together, and it's a good feeling. They all bought in, and it's about the team with them.
One of the things I really like about the Brookfield Warriors, Coach, it's the seniors have done such a great job of coaching on the floor, and the young kids, they don't look like kids in varsity experience, if that makes any sense. They look like seasoned veterans instead of where they should be young kids. They look like seasoned veterans, and that's one of the reasons why Brookfield is having such a good year.
Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 of them played a lot of minutes as freshmen last year. And, there was games after, we'd go play Champion or Liberty or, any of them, and we'd lose by 20 or 30. And every day I'd tell them they were getting better. You guys are getting better. Well, they never believed me because they look at me like, Coach, we don't believe you. They just give me that look. And, come tournament time around this time last year, we beat Newton Falls at home. We had a couple other key wins, and then we go into the tournament and we beat the number 6 seed, which was Fairport Harbor. Then we go to Andrews Osborne and beat them, which was the 3rd seed. And then we battled the 2nd seed, Cornerstone Christian, up till the 4th quarter. And we just ran out of gas. And, that's carrying that success over at the end of the last season over to this year is what's really helped them. I mean, all summer long, once we were able to get in the gym, they never missed. Fall time, they don't miss. And every practice, they come in and compete. And that's all you can ask of anybody, just to come compete every day, and that's what they do.
And then we can't go without talking about some of the young stars and like Sophie Hook, who can do pretty much whatever she wants to off the dribble, and I think everyone kind of is starting to understand what kind of talent she is. Talk about her, what it's like to coach her, and how bright that kid's future really is.
I think she has a bright future. I mean, every day she's usually the first one in the gym, one of the last ones to leave. I talked on this a couple weeks ago in a newspaper. It was a Sunday morning. We were having to shoot her on at 12:30. She's texting me at 10:30 once in the gym. And she wanted to stay after, shoot her on. I said, Sophie, I'm here now if you want to come up. And, she was there within 5 minutes. And then a couple others trickled in with her, which goes a long way of, them just saying, hey, we want to get better, as a team. And that goes a long way. But I think she has a bright future. I mean, she stays healthy and keeps going the pace she's going. She's going to be the probably all-time leading record in scoring at Brookfield. And possibly could be one of the best ever to come out of Trumbull County in my eyes. And she works at it every day. I mean, she plays AAU. She's year-round. That's all. It's basketball with her.
Ken Forsythe.
It helps, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Coach.
I'm
sorry.
It just helps, you know what I mean? It helps because a bunch of some other girls that she's with, like Audrey Reardon, who is having a great season for us too, and they realize that, and they take it, they use that as a work ethic to get better and better each day.
Ken Forsythe, the head basketball coach at Brookfield High School, joining us, I should say, on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, you brought up the point that these kids they want to get into the gym as long as possible. That work ethic, you don't see it all the time in various schools. It's special when you see that in your own kids. When there's other programs that, no disrespect, they don't have that hunger that Brookfield has right now.
Yeah, and it goes, my assistant coaches do a great job of, getting them fired up every day. And, I got Chris Fondrick, who's one of my assistants, coached these girls when they were in 8th grade. And they, the same kind of thing happened with them. They struggled at the beginning of their 8th grade year, and they ended up winning the league championship. But, they kind of all bought into the way he was doing things, and I really haven't changed that. And he's part of my varsity staff now who helps develop them, you know what I mean? And it's like they all bought in at that point. And, again, you can't ask for a better group. That whole sophomore group I have, and they all play 3 sports. And they're like that with every sport. I helped coach them in softball last summer, and it's like, they have the same – they're going 100 miles an hour on a softball field just like they are at basketball court, or they're playing volleyball or playing soccer. And it's a great, great group of girls in that sophomore group, and, the juniors, the seniors, and the freshmen have bought in with them. So, I mean, it goes a long way.
You get the opportunity to be around this program and be around this school every day. What makes you kind of proud that you're able to put on the Brookfield colors and you're able to represent that school system? What is it about Brookfield that kind of makes it home to you?
I graduated from Brookfield in 1999, and I've never left Brookfield. I mean, I don't live in Brookfield right now, but I've always coached at Brookfield, and it's always, I bleed blue and gold. I would not want to be anywhere else, and it's just the work ethic of the kids. I mean, I coached boys basketball for years at Brookfield as an assistant in the junior high levels, and it's the kids' work ethic because they got to work for things sometimes when others it could be handed to them, but every day it's boys, girls, whatever it is, it's the work ethic. The parents teach them. It goes a long way.
Coach, how important are these final league games? As your victory over Newton Falls, there's no question you're in the catbird seat. But how important is it to finish the job you've started this year?
It's going to be real important, and it starts tonight. And I told the girls that, and we got LeBray on Monday, and we got Crestview next Wednesday, which we haven't figured out Crestview yet. That's one coach I've never beaten in my 3 years here at Brookfield, and it goes back, and that's our only loss this year. So hopefully we're ready to go that night, especially. But again, for us to be successful, and actually I wasn't expecting this run until next year. For us to be 12-1 right now, it's a huge thing. But again, you're expecting them to make some mistakes at some point, but they've battled back from the mistakes so far. So hopefully it carries over, and they learned from mistakes last year, and hopefully we finish strong here and can win this championship in the conference, and that could go a long way too.
Man, you said it. This team has kind of gone way past expectations this season, 12-1 on the year. Have you guys ever had to fight or combat any type of mental complacency or relaxation with the record that you guys have been combining, or has it all been completely focused night in and night out on what the next goal is?
It's like the times right now. We played Liberty twice in 1 week, and we played Newton Falls twice in the last week. And I told the girls, I said, this ain't gonna. The second time we played them, the first time we played both teams, we won by 20 each game. And I said, girls, these aren't going to be the same teams that you guys faced a week ago. And, we came out a little sloppy in the beginning of both games, first quarter, first half of both games. And then they, realized, Coach was right. This ain't the same teams. And they made adjustments at halftime, and they're buying into their adjustments, and that's what carries us. And their mentality is we don't quit. I mean, that's what I tell them. It's about confidence. They got to be confident in each other for us to keep carrying through.
Coach Forsyth, before we let you go, I got to ask. I mean, this has been a weird year. I mean, let's be honest. COVID it's proven to bring out an awful lot of mentally strong teams, and it's brought up a lot of weird scheduling changes and whatnot. And you and your kids have clearly been able to navigate the choppy waters from Trumbull County shutting down every school, the health board, to all the changes in the scheduling, to seeing teams 1 week apart. Talk about what this season and all of the mental aspects of this season has done to make your kids and make your program stronger.
It's like I said, when we got shut down, we played the Monday before Thanksgiving. We played United that Monday night. Tuesday we were practicing, and I wasn't at practice because I was working, but my assistants ran practice early after school because they had a half day. So they practiced like 1 to 2:30. And we had a game the following night. We were supposed to play Lisbon. So, they're getting ready to go. They're getting prepared for that. And then, we get a phone call at 3 o'clock saying, hey, you guys are shut down for 2 or 3 weeks. And, the only way, and it's hard to get a girl to go out and try to run in the middle of November to try to stay in shape, especially with the weather and everything else. And I told the girls every day, listen, if you guys can get a basketball in your hands, let's do some dribbling drills. Let's do some, pass off a wall. If it's warm out, go out and get some shots up. If you guys can go jog a little bit every day, go jog, And, when we came back from, this shutdown, it seemed like we were in pretty good shape. So I don't know. Some of them must have been doing some stuff, which was good. And I think that's what carries over. Some of them just want to win and, compete every day. And that's how everybody deals with it. And I know as being an athlete right now, and even as a coach, you don't know day to day if you're going to play tomorrow. And that's the hard part right now. There's no guarantee tomorrow. But I said, that's why I tell them you got to give everything you have today, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And it could be the end of it. They could shut us down tomorrow for 2 weeks, and there goes our tournament run. So it'll be a tough battle these next couple of weeks to see how teams respond and how things go with that. So I mean, there's no guarantee of anything right now.
Coach, take us back to that first day back after the shutdown for Trumbull County. A lot of teams have dealt with 10-day quarantines or maybe 13-day quarantines, but you guys were shut down for the whole month of December. What was it like to finally get back together with each other, and what was that first day back like for you guys?
Well, we came back. I mean, we were fortunate enough. Our school district let us come back in. I think it was the 19th or 20th. We were able to come in and do some small group workouts. So I had like 7 or 8 girls in each group, and we did some shooting and just some agility stuff. And that went a long way, because you could tell some of them haven't shot, but you could tell some of them did shoot. But and every day, that week after, I scheduled 2 scrimmages on purpose just to get us in game mode, because I felt like the only way we could get into shape or get into game mode is by competing against other people. And we had a scrimmage. We had Bristol and Maple, not Bristol. We had Girard and Maplewood come one night, and then we had Lordstown come another night, and it was just us just playing. And I think that's what helped us, was they came back from that little break and they realized, there's no guarantee tomorrow, and I think that's why they give everything they have every night, because there is no promise.
Coach, congratulations on the season to this point. Best of luck to you the rest of the way, and I absolutely love your guys' tournament draw as well. I think that if you continue to improve and get better, Brookfield certainly has a long tournament run in them.
Yes, I do. Thank you guys very much.
All right, Ken Forsyth, he is the head girls basketball coach at Brookfield High School, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline.
Yeah, and he's right. I've watched Brookfield's girls program for the last decade. They're always in the district tournament. They're always a team that has a say in what the districts kind of shape up. And you're right. The way they play, he's right. The way they play is kind of a gritty. You can tell the work ethic is a little bit different in Brookfield. So it was cool to hear him say that hear that from someone that's in the program. Hey, the work ethic here is just a little bit different. And I think you can tell that if you watch one of their programs real closely. They're usually a team that is a little gritty, and you can tell they kind of bring their lunch pail with them every day to work.
I'm envious of the fact that those kids are more than willing to want to work extra hard and get there early and leave late. Because there are programs that you don't get that. This is special. When you have a bunch of kids that love this game so much that they're willing to come early to practice and then leave late after practice to work on their game. That's something really special.
And when we talk about the super high end players in the area, the Emma Elias, the Izzy Lamparties, the Jackie Grisdales, and then when you're talking about Brookfield, Sophie Hook, they don't get to where they are on the court right now by accident. I mean, you look at her, Sophie Hook's in particular, her ball handling and her ability to get shots off the dribble. You don't wake up that one day and realize you can do that. It's just you get to that point by having a work ethic that's different than other people. And when you can have someone like that shows the people in your program what it takes to get to that point, it makes them want to raise their standards a little bit. And I think that's what you do. And then he talked about the senior leaders, and it's so important that you have seniors that buy into the program. They don't complain about starting time. They don't complain about playing time. They show up to practice, they do their work, and they show every girl on that team this is the standard if you want to be a great program. And it starts at the top, like most every programs in the state of Ohio. It starts at the top. Ken Forsyth is a great coach. He's Brookfield through and through, and he's instilled the standard into the seniors, who are now instilling that standard into the underclassmen.
And if you're unable to get the kids to buy into your program, you're not going to last long as a basketball coach. Kudos to Coach Forsyth and his coaching staff.
Especially your seniors. If your seniors don't buy in and you have a young team, you're going to have a rough couple of years because those seniors are the ones that everyone kind of looks to. And if the seniors are kind of goofing off in practice, guess what? The sophomores are going to be goofing off in practice too. So the seniors make that standard very clear, and the rest of the team follow suits.
Amen to that. All right, we're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we'll take some phone calls. Along the way, we will hear from the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls, Mark Baker. Just see if we can work on Tony Matisse. I got his cell number. I'm going to see if I can give him a shout and see if...
Get the big guy on.
Yeah, see if we'll get the big guy on.
We're happy to see him back on the sidelines.
Oh, boy, no kidding. Absolutely. We're going to take a timeout. Be back with more. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. 330-886-0813 is the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Ron Potesta with you alongside Mr. Chief himself. You're sporting your gear all week this week.
I got the throwbacks the last 2 days, though. So
nice.
I'm gearing up. I got Eric Berry on today.
All right.
And he's one of my favorite Chiefs. So
there you go.
If I had to pick one Chief from recent history that I wish would have been on the team last year to get him a ring, it would have been EB and what he came back from, and beating leukemia to get back to the team, and really probably having one of the best seasons of his career after coming back from cancer. So I wish we could have gotten him a ring, and I'm still gonna rep my Eric Berry jersey.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yesterday, the Schottenheimer family announced to everyone that the former Chiefs coach and former Browns coach, Marty Schottenheimer, is now in a hospice center where he has had Alzheimer's for the last, and I want to say 7+ years. And he was transferred into a hospice center, which should basically let everyone know the end is probably near for Coach Schottenheimer. And it kind of
both fan
puts
bases
things into a little bit of perspective.
Both fan bases give him a hard time for his playoff, lack of playoff wins.
Yeah.
But he got him there, and he did a lot for both those franchises that I think the fan bases, when you take a step back, should be really proud of. And the things that Murray did for both Kansas City and Cleveland.
Yeah, he just was never able to get a team to the Super Bowl.
You can't blame playoff losses completely on the coach. I mean,
no.
Some funky things happened in both times, and did he make Ernest Biner fumble the ball?
Although the prevent defense in the '86 AFC Championship game was
he calling the defense?
It all came back on him, and he has the last
exactly.
He has the last answer, or I should say the last.
And people are still making that mistake. You saw the Packers do it. Packers do it at the end of the half against Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship this year.
You're preventing your team from winning. That's all you're doing with a prevent defense. Yeah, you're preventing the victory. So, it's interesting. Andy Reid had the same exact reputation Marty Schottenheimer. Chuck Knox is another one from his days as the head football coach with the Rams in the 70s. 2 or 3 NFC Championship appearances. He went to Buffalo, got the Bills into the playoffs a couple of times, and they couldn't do anything in the playoffs. So, and then Andy Reid finally got the monkey off his back when he took Philadelphia to the Super Bowl, but then lost to New England the first time he went to a Super Bowl. And then last year he finally got the Super Bowl championship, and now this year they're a 3-point favorite to repeat as Super Bowl champs. So we'll see what happens.
And it's funny because Andy Reid lost to Belichick, and that was the last time that a team went back-to-back was when Belichick beat him against Philadelphia. So now he's going up against Tom Brady, who won back-to-back against Andy Reid, and it's just one of those funny storylines that matches up to the Super Bowl.
By the way, the weather forecast in Tampa, straight garbage on Sunday night.
Has it turned to garbage
it is going to be ugly.
It's Florida. It'll be fine. It'll rain for like an hour, and then it'll be sunny, and then it'll rain again, and then it'll be sunny.
I was watching highlights of past Super Bowls, and the one that stuck out for me was the game between Dallas and Baltimore, which I think was Super Bowl. Not Dallas, Baltimore. Really Kansas City and Minnesota in Super Bowl 4.
Toss power trap.
Holy smokes, was that field in destroyed? It was in horrible shape.
They played at Tulane, right? Tulane University
I believe so.
New Orleans.
And it was one of the last times that they ever played a Super Bowl there. It was.
I wonder why.
That field was in just horrible shape.
It was just about as bad as the halftime show went when the guy came in a parachute and he didn't land on the right spot. And the thing crashed into the stands.
Yeah.
64 toss power trap.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
64 toss power trap. Think it's gonna go. I think it will go.
Keep matriculating the ball down the field.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, Lenny. We wouldn't call him Len. He always had to call him Lenny.
Come on, Lenny.
Just keep matriculating ball down the field, boys.
I'm telling you, it worked.
All right. 64 toss
power trap.
64 toss power trap. Maybe Mark Baker, the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls, has 64 toss power trap in his offensive arsenal. They're in Crestview tonight, taking on the Crestview Rebels. We will hear from the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls, Mark Baker. That's coming up in just a bit. Stick around, more to come.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Pochester with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. We are efforting the head girls basketball coach of the Newton Falls Tigers, and hopefully we will get Coach Baker on in the next few minutes. While we have some time, I heard this morning or saw this morning the passing of a really, really nice talk show host up in Cleveland, a guy that's did a real nice job not only talking sports on the radio, on podcasts and whatnot, but he invoked, I should say, some humor into his talk shows. And if you're talking about the Browns prior to this year, you have to have humor because they weren't a very good team for 20-plus years until this year. But Les Levine was diagnosed about 2 or 3 years ago with Parkinson's disease, and unfortunately he succumbed to it last night at his home in the suburbs of Cleveland. Just a really, really nice guy. Fantastic talk show host up in Cleveland, and he'll definitely be missed.
Parkinson's is something that just it'll really wear on your body. It takes you. It's a chronic disease, and not exactly the fate that you'd wish on someone. But,
no,
he had a great career, and like you said, one of the great talk show hosts of Cleveland sports, and as the media member, we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, it's if you think about it, Ali had Parkinson's disease.
Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's as well.
It's a tough, really tough disease for which there is no cure. I mean, you can be comfortable, but then if everything it shuts down, and clearly it did last night with Les Levine, and then it's like I said, like Lou Gehrig's disease and so many other diseases, we don't have a cure for it yet, and it's tough. Anytime someone's diagnosed with that, I lost my great uncle to that. Now, fortunately, he had lived a relatively long life. He was in his early 80s when he passed away, but it's tough. I'm with you. I don't wish that on anybody. not that at the end of the lifetime where your bodily functions, you have no.
It's like it's coming your whole life because it's genetic and you're kind of diagnosed with it early, and the symptoms slowly but surely develop, and it's one of those like ticking time bombs. I don't know how people mentally kind of prepare for it.
Yeah, it's a lot like Lou Gehrig's disease.
Right.
It's you know that if you have it, you pretty much know how the story is going to end, and that can be so mentally tough. Heart breaks for anyone that has that, but he'll be missed. His humor is going to be missed. His very quirky personality is also going to be missed as well. Just a really, really good guy. The folks in Cleveland, my friends that are employed and have worked in radio up in Cleveland, all of them to a man and woman, they have not ever uttered a bad word about Les Levine, and that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, because you're bound to make someone mad at me.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm the poster child for that, for God's sake.
So when you can't find anybody to say anything bad about a guy, he did his job right.
Yeah, there are some certain places where I will not be getting Christmas cards. We'll just leave it at that. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout.
Try to get Coach Baker on
Mark Baker, the head basketball coach at Newton Falls, coming up in just a bit. Stick around. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We stay in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier, and joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, we bring in the girls head basketball coach of the Newton Falls Tigers, Mark Baker. Coach Baker, congratulations on your season to this point, and welcome into Running Point.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invite. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and when you look at your season so far and kind of where you've been, I know it was a tough loss to Brookfield a couple nights ago, but you got to bounce back against Crestview tonight. This week, from your perspective, what's the state of the team, and how do you kind of bounce back from a really tough loss in a close game against Brookfield?
I think I think we're finally headed on the mend a little bit. We went through a stretch there where we were obviously playing an awful lot of games in a short period of time, and I want to say we went through a stretch where we played about 6 games in about maybe 10 days or 9 days or something like that. And we just went through a stretch where we had a lot of girls that were just beat up. You know, we had bruises and bumps and sore hamstrings, and I had one with a twisted ankle, and nothing serious, but like everything is nagging. Like the only thing that's going to make it go away is a few days of rest. So we fortunately did get a stretch there where we had a game get canceled on us, and we were able to get a few days of rest. And I thought against the Brookfield game, we came out better. We had a lot more energy. I thought the girls played hard. I thought we struggled a little bit to maybe put the ball in the basket, but taking a few days off, and this has certainly not been a normal basketball season by any means. So I look forward to tonight's contest. I think the girls are rested. They're excited to play, and should be a good contest with us in Crestview tonight.
Coach, when you look back on this season, and obviously being in Trumbull County, the entire county shut down by the Board of Public Health in the month of December, was that forcing the issue for you to put the kids on the floor and get as many games as possible in the month of January?
Yeah. Well, first off, when we were shut down, it was so hard to watch other teams and other counties around us play. And that really, it was probably really depressing for my kids, for myself included, because, you want to get out there, you want to play. I have 5 seniors this year, and they were certainly dying to play. So that was a really tough stretch. And then, when we do get the okay to go ahead and start going, we actually, we would have started back. We didn't start back until the 23rd of December. And then, unfortunately, we got shut down on the 26th. So we only had 2 days of practice there. And that cost us, we got shut down, and that cost us a few games. So we had to reschedule things again. And you had to get all these league games in. So you're basically playing on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Saturday, and turn around and doing the same thing the next week. So it certainly made things difficult. Our biggest issue, even to this point where we are now, we're at the end of February, I think, to be honest with you, since December 23rd, I think I've had the girls in the gym less than 8 days. Like we've had 8, if I'm counting them in my head correctly, I think we've had 8 actual practice days, because there came a point where girls, we're so tired and beat up, we need to take a couple days off. You guys need to go home and get some sleep and watch some cartoons and just rest up. So we did, when we were shut down, and there was times in December where we kind of took a trick from the Cleveland Browns a little bit. We were doing some Zoom meetings, and I was, the teacher in me was trying to do some odd things. It's okay, we run this set, let's see you draw it, where would you put people, where do they go? And kids had fun with it, they're holding up pieces of paper and stuff in front of the camera and things like that. So we tried to make the best out of it as we possibly could. We did some virtual escape rooms for basketball and some scavenger hunt type things to try to keep us occupied, because to be honest with you, the kids were just really, they really got depressed. It was a low time there for quite a while.
You talked about your 5 seniors that you have. It's a senior-led team. How important was their leadership during all that to kind of keep the team close and keep the team tight-knit?
I don't think we would be doing as well as we are right now if I didn't have 5 seniors that have been playing together since they were in probably the 4th grade. Now, I did get one senior back this year who's been out the last couple of years with a pretty significant injury, but that chemistry that they have with each other because of playing so long, that's something that I would have no chance of developing that in 8 days of practice. No chance whatsoever. And because they've been playing with each other so long and doing a lot of the same things with each other over the years, that really kind of dovetailed things together to make the season to be where we're at right now. And then we've brought a couple younger girls along as well that have kind of joined the wagon and jumped on the train and rid along with us. But without those seniors, I really think we would really be struggling right now. We would really be struggling.
Coach, you're 13 days away from your tournament start. You'll open up the tournament. Yeah, you'll open up the tournament against Sebring. The Trojans, the 14 seed. You get the 3 seed. I'm curious, when's your last regular season game, and are you tempted to shut down your regular season a little early so you can get a jump on practicing prior to the start of the tournament?
It's certainly something that I have had to think about. We have not played as many games as probably many of the other teams around us. They've probably already played some additional games because we've had some get canceled by other schools, and we had our own issues at one point there around winter break time frame. In all honesty, at this point, I'm basically going to play it day to day. I think our last game, the regular season game, is scheduled for the 12th or the 13th of February. And I believe that's a game at Southeast High School, who is an excellent basketball team, and would really be a really good game for us going into the tournament. But we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, I'm going to have to, read my kids' faces and ask them, how are we feeling? How do we do? Do we need a break? Do we need the time off? Do we need to, you guys want to play? I know my kids are probably going to tell me that they're going to want to play, but I think, honestly, I'm just going to have to play it day by day and see where the kids are at.
You have one senior who I believe is one of the more underrated and under-the-radar players in the whole area, in Brie Hudson, and she got her 1,000th point of her career earlier this season, and she statistically leads you guys so many times. What's it like coaching her, and what kind of leadership does she bring to the Tigers?
Brie, I honest to goodness, too, I think I have two underrated players in Brie and Madison Hayden. But Brie is she's a lead by example type player. She's not the most vocal leader on the floor at times. I think I would like her to do that a little bit more. Now, Madison Hayden does do that for me. Both young ladies are extremely intelligent, and Madison kind of leads a little more vocally, where Brie does a little more by example. But both those young ladies, without them, we would obviously be really struggling right now. And they're both going to be 4-year letter winners, and both have been all league and made the all district teams. And both those young ladies would have played back when they were freshmen, when we played in the regional finals there against Aaliyah Catholic and lost in a triple overtime game. Those two young ladies were a big part of that team, even all the way back then. So those two have just kind of driven the charge. In the summertime, when we weren't able to do anything, we weren't able to go to open or anything like that. It was those young ladies that were they were organizing virtual basketball workouts, and they were doing stuff at their home, and they would record it and send it to another person, and they were trying to outdo each other, and it really turned into a fun experience, even though we really couldn't be together and all that. They ultimately kind of created almost like a quarantine challenge. Okay, well, I did this many. I did this much time of ball handling, and I put up so many shots of this, or I did ladder drills, and we turned it into a point system and turned it into a big competition. So the kids had fun with that as well. But those two definitely were leading the charge the entire way.
Mark Baker, the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls High School, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. That loss against Brookfield, obviously, it hurts in a big way in that you have 2 league losses, and realistically, you're going to have to win out and hope and pray that someone knocks Brookfield down a peg or two in order to share the league championship. But tonight, you take on a team in Crestview that has some pieces that has always been given Brookfield some problems. Have you played Crestview yet this year? And if not, what do you know of them going into this game, Coach?
We did play Crestview. Crestview was actually our first win of the season this year, because we started off our very first game with Liberty on about the 9th of January, who we played on 0 days of practice. That was our first day in the gym from the 26th of December. And then we had to turn around the very following Monday and travel to Champion. And we don't practice on Sunday, so that was the second game we played on no practice at all. We were drawing out of bounds plays in the pregame and we were trying to rep our out of bounds plays in the locker room or passing around somebody's book bag. And that Crestview game, I believe we played them the following Wednesday. So we played Saturday, Monday, and then turned around and played them on a Wednesday. And we beat them here at home, a close game, I want to say like a 35 to 30 game. They're an interesting team. They've got a lot of good pieces. Obviously, they have a standout young lady, Krista Perry. She can shoot it. She can drive it. She can defend. She can rebound. She's long. She's athletic. And then there's a lot of nice pieces that go around with her. There's some shooters that go around with her. They have some, slash role players that really play the role super well. If their role is to defend or to simply, knock down open shots or things like that, they've got a nice team. They've got a nice cohesion of players that play together. And I think their record right now is probably about 10-6, maybe 11-6, 11-7, something like that. They're better than their record shows. They've lost to some really good teams. Obviously, the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference this year is just ridiculously strong. Probably the strongest the league has been since I've been here, and I'm going on, I think this is my 16th year here at Newton Falls. I don't ever remember a year where the league has been this strong, just top to bottom with that.
Perfect segue, because I was going to ask you about going through this conference and what it's been like. I mean, you look at the teams, you got you guys, you got Brookfield, you're both 3 seeds in Division 3 and 4 respectively. Champions a 4 seed, Crestvew's a 6. Even Liberty's a team that went and gave Poland all they can handle last night. They're tough. What's it been like going through this conference, and how much is it going to prepare you for tournament time?
I hope it would really, we definitely, going into the tournament, you've been battle tested, that's for sure. And I don't think the league is certainly out of the question for any team at this point, because Brookfield, even though they might only have 1 loss in the league, they're just starting their second round of playing people, and they have to go to Champion. They have to play La Brea again. I think they have to play Crestview again, who I think they already lost to. So there's several teams out there that they have to have another go-around with again. And they've been fortunate with their schedule and the way they've gone. They've been able to get a little bit of rest here and there. We'll see, as teams go through and they're having to play on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, when fatigue starts hitting in, I think the league is really wide open. I think it's almost anybody's ball game on any given night. It's just going to, it's ultimately going to turn down to, who gets shots to fall and who doesn't get shots to fall. And I think you're going to see a lot of close games here in the later half of the year.
Mark Baker, he is the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls. He joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What is it about the village of Newton Falls and basketball, not just the girls program, the boys program? Both programs are so damn impressive, and they have been for years. What the heck is going on in the water at Newton Falls that gives you kids and your kids an opportunity or the talent to play basketball at such a fantastic level?
I think, first off, the girls has not always been girls basketball here in Newton Falls has not always had a great tradition. They've had some good teams here and there. I know when I was in school back in the early 90s, late 80s, they had some good basketball and softball and volleyball here. They had a good group come through. I think you really have to kind of go back in history a little bit. I think you have to go back to maybe the times of Gene Zorn, who was a beloved teacher here at Newton Falls, a math teacher, a coach of multiple sports, and he was the boys basketball coach for 30 plus years. And I think he definitely got everything started with things he, with little camps and things that he would do with the youth programs, and he always included boys and girls and things he did. Then handed over to Coach Sembeck, which is here well before me. I'm just now in my 16th or 17th year here at Newton Falls, and he was certainly an open book to me. I had his daughters on my teams, and he was very open to the things that he was doing with his youth kids, and I had my ideas what to do with youth kids, and we've really just combined everything we've done. I have kids. If I do a skills camp for kids, boys and girls are included. If he does a skills camp for kids, boys and girls are included. So it's really a team effort across the board for multiple reasons as to why the is so strong. We do have the park here in town. I think that helps a little bit. I think that's the local hangout for kids to go down and throw the ball around a little bit and have some fun. So I think that might be a good part of it as well.
You're a teacher at Newton Falls as well as a coach. What's it like seeing the other side of student-athlete? We talk about athletes so much, but they're also students. What's it like seeing the other side and seeing them work just as hard in the classroom as they do on the basketball court or the football field or whatever it may be.
You know, you make a comment there that makes me think about a lot of young men and a lot of young women that I've particularly had, you know, in the classroom as well as you know, in the court or you know, track and field I've done for a number of years as well. And to see how many of them apply their academics to their athletics that have now gone on to become professionals in their own right. I've got nurses, I've got leaders, I've got a young lady who's a physicist. I've got some that are you know, several that are mothers at this point that are the matriarch of their family, and it's nice to see the values that I have tried to teach in the classroom as well as on the basketball court or in other extracurricular activities to see the young women you know take that and apply it to multiple facets of their life. I've always been a big one. I sometimes kind of thought maybe I was a little bit ahead of the time, but I spent an awful lot of time with my players as well as students about the mental aspects of life. You know, the ability to control the 3 pounds of electric impulse in your head, known as your brain. When you learn how to control that, good things are going to come for you. You become more confident, you become more composed, and life just gets a whole lot easier when you really learn how to control what's going on in your mind.
You know, you bring up something very interesting because we'll harken back to late last year in December when Trumbull County shut all the schools down. The county health board said, yeah, we're not going to have anybody play any basketball the month of December. It certainly gave you and your kids that opportunity to really work hard in not freaking out over losing a game that everyone loves, and I think that the fact that your record is where you are right now, it speaks volumes for how you and your kids have handled this challenge of COVID mentally.
Thank you very much. It's been a rough ride, boy. It has been a rough ride, that's for sure. This season has been nothing like I've ever experienced in my 25 years now going on of coaching and teaching. I certainly never thought we'd see anything like this before.
You know, in any sport, team chemistry is so important. And I know with girls basketball and the girls sports, they like to do the sleepovers and the team meals. And this year with COVID, it's just been hard to do some of the things that they like to do. What kind of things, and I'm sure you guys have gotten really creative, what kind of things have you been doing to try to keep team chemistry close-knit in the COVID world?
You know, ordinarily, we would do we would do a team dinner here or there, or we would do a team bowling night or you know, scavenger hunt or something like that. Being a women's coach, if you're not doing team building activities, you're losing out. So we all try to incorporate some of our team building activities into practice when we can. We have another number of different little goofy games that we play. We have the magic carpet where everybody has to stand on the carpet and get the carpet flipped over without anybody falling off. And we've got our hula hoop idea. Everybody's got to pass with the hula hoop. Different little team contests and things that we can do. My wife and I actually created years ago, because my wife is the volleyball coach here at the school, we created something that we refer to as the Tiger Games. And it's just a series of goofy little contests that we've put together that the kids just love. You know, some of them involve ball skills, some of them involve nothing athletic to do at all. It might be word search, it might be number crunch, just all kinds of little things. And we have a point scoring system for that. So if you're not doing team building activities with young women, you're missing out, because you have to have that aspect with girls, because they need that time, they need that camaraderie to make that connection with each other.
Mark Baker, the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think anybody has experienced a year quite like this year with COVID and everything that's gone along with it. But, you know, at the end of the year, when you can look back, and obviously everyone ends a year with a loss unless you win a state championship, but when you look back on this year, and your seniors go to college or wherever they go, and you're left with the junior class and the underclassmen, how much is this year and the COVID year going to affect this team and strengthen this team long term? How much do you think that will be part of their DNA as we go into the next season and seasons to come?
First off, that doesn't kill you always makes you stronger. So I would hope that we would come out of this stronger and maybe better. Maybe some of the things that we've developed that we've have started doing virtually. Maybe the trend of not practicing so much and maybe spending more time in the classroom or in a Zoom meeting. Maybe that's a little more way to go. Maybe we're getting something out of the book of some of the professional teams, some of the NBA teams, some of the NFL teams that maybe practice a little less than what you might think they would do because they do things a little more mentally. There's something to be said about mental reps versus physical reps as well. So hopefully in the long run we come out better because of this. I think academically, hopefully we've moved ourselves a little more towards the digital age, which is where education is headed. So hopefully our kids will benefit from that in the long run. I do think, however, you're going to see some repercussions from it as well. I mean, our junior high kids, my poor junior high kids, have not got to play very many games. They've not got to practice at all. I was not able to do anything with my youth kids this year. My 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade kids wasn't allowed to do anything over the summer with them. Couldn't do anything with them in the fall. They're not playing in any youth tournaments right now. So I think that's going to put those kids behind a little bit because, let's be honest, here in Northeast Ohio, there's not a whole lot of days from November to March that you're going to go outside and shoot some hoops in the driveway. But I think I think you're going to see a little bit of yin and yang. You're going to see a little bit of both repercussions in the long run. So hopefully the kids that I have been able to have immediate contact with in the long run, I hope we're better from this. But some of the kids that I haven't been able to access, we may struggle a little bit with them for a while.
Coach, before we let you go, I ask all the players I interview this, and since you've been coaching for a while, I'm hoping that you might have an interesting answer. So, do you have any pregame routines that you like to stick to as a coach that if you don't do, you're going to feel off the whole night?
Well, we have a certain pregame routine for both our players and as well as myself. My players know the expectation is you have a pregame mental workout, which is about a 3-minute and 40-second mental workout where you mentally go through some highlight reels. You go through and you see some highlights of yourself performing a certain way you want to do. You go back and you read, play some highlights of how you in the past, and then you make up some highlights of how you want to perform in today's game. We have a certain routine that really calms us down. It gets us ready mentally for it. For myself, I do a lot of the same things. I spend a lot of time visualizing what is about to happen. I try to visualize what I want to happen. I try to visualize different scenarios and see how I might react to those different scenarios and what decisions I might make. I also every time before I go in the locker room, I know it sounds kind of silly, but I always get myself a drink of water in a water fountain right before I go in to talk to the girls, and I typically always write a smiley face on with my dry erase marker. So my kids know when they see that smiley that, hey, coach is ready to go. It's time for business. So that's my pregame routine as well as my kids' pregame routine.
Look forward to meeting you tonight, Coach. I have the call on the game on YSN. I'll be the guy wearing the Crestview hoodie. Well, listen. I mean, I broadcast games for Crestview, and the girls gave me a really, really heavy hoodie. I mean, this thing was really nice.
Don't worry.
All right, there's going to be some Newton Falls gear coming down.
I appreciate that.
You give us Newton Falls gear, Coach. We'll be happy to wear it. Okay?
Oh, trust me. I'll be sporting that Newton Falls gear if you give it to me, Coach.
I'm going to hold you to that.
I wear XXL, so just throwing that out there, Coach. I'm not trying to mooch for any merchandise, but if you're offering,
I'll see what I can come up with.
I look forward to meeting you tonight. Well played on the season. Congratulations on the high seed in D4. And honestly, if you guys go to the district championship against McDonald, I would pay money to see that game because I think you have a shot to knock off McDonald.
You know, a lot of people ask me, you had a choice of going for Western Reserve and McDonald, and I'm like, well, we played Western Reserve last year, and I know those kids. Well, I don't know these kids. Let's go play somebody different. Let's see what happens.
Hey, congratulations on the campaign. Look forward to seeing you tonight, and best of luck to you tonight against Crestview.
All right, thank you, sir. Take care.
All righty. Mark Baker, he is the head girls basketball coach at Newton Falls. I didn't mooch for merchandise. But I mean, I typically I'll wear the Crestview hoodie, right. And I mean it's this thing is warm. When I first looked at it,
it better be because that gym gets really cold in the winter and it gets really hot in the summer.
I don't know who's in charge of turning the heat on in that place, but the last girls' game that we did, it was so freaking freezing in that gym.
Well, there's no air in the gym, so when it gets hot outside, it's gonna get hot in that gym.
Yeah.
And we do volleyball games there, and it's like, and then when it gets cold outside, those doors are propped open right behind the gym, and it gets cold in there. Really.
Now I'll be really curious. They're going to have a brand new school,
right?
And with the brand new school is going to come a brand new gymnasium, and with the brand new gymnasium, hopefully, a heater or air conditioning, and maybe
I hope they take that drop down scoreboard with them.
Oh God, I love that.
It's iconic for Crestview. It's one of those things that Crestview has and almost no one else does. I know some people think it's hokey and it's lame, whatever, but I think it's one of those things that just anytime a gym has something that makes it unique and makes it that gym, I would like to see it stay.
The drop-down scoreboard is something that needs to be in every single gymnasium. I love it. I absolutely love that that whole just idea of
what
having
they need to
that.
do if they need to expand on it and put the little stat scoreboard on the corners of it, so the player stats can still be updated on the scoreboard. Just put it on the little corners where the big Coke logos are.
Yeah.
Have your sponsors be somewhere else on the top or something around, and then those corners can be used for the player stats.
Now, the only thing is, and I've noticed in the smaller schools, to run one of those clocks, I mean, that's kind of an interesting scenario to run one of those clocks.
Right.
And then you have to have someone else run the players, because that's a job that's a little bit harder than what people think.
There hasn't been a lot of schools that have been using the stat sides this year because they're limiting the amount of people that can come into the gym. And,
exactly.
Hey, that's just an extra person we have to put at the scores table. We'll just use the score. We'll just use the score.
Because the clock operator has enough on their plate.
In a normal world, I really appreciate the stats on the side. They can keep me updated on who's got how many fouls and who's got how many points.
Yeah. Now the other thing that I hope that they have in Crestview, Mr. B, who's their public address announcer. He sits upstairs,
right?
And that's the equipment room. That's the football equipment room and the sports equipment room. And they have this nice little cubby hole where he sits, and it's and they've literally sawed off a square of this equipment room, and that's where Mr. B is able to see everything. And obviously the way he is the public address announcer at Crestview, he's iconic. And it's probably the only place, or one of very few places, that not only do the starting lineup for the varsity game, they do the starting lineup for the junior varsity game, which I think is very cool.
And I said it to him when we had him on, I think during the summer when we were talking about Crestview's new football field. He's one of the only PA announcers, and I appreciate this as a person with a disability. He says, if you're able, before the anthem. Please stand if you're able. And it's just one of those things that I always nod the cap, because not a lot of people think about that when they're reading the list for if you're. But a lot of people can't stand for the anthem.
This is true.
So if you're able, and that's one of the things I always appreciated about going to a game at Crestview.
This is true. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Dre Smith will be talking YSU women's basketball.
It'll be a lot more
positive
than yesterday. They're not struggling as much as the
well, they did have their winning streak snapped.
They did, and it was Richie's fault.
Yeah, it's Richie's fault. I mean, he's the one that was broadcasting the game on Friday. It's all his fault. And we got to get Dre to pretty much say that it was Richie's fault.
And
so
he's going to also agree with me that the broadcaster jinx is alive and well. Because Rob believes in it.
Come on, so stop that. Rob doesn't believe in it. He just wanted to put tire tracks on my back. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. Yesterday was the conclusion of National Signing Day in college football and pretty much all of collegiate scholarships and whatnot.
Did we have some YSN people make some big noise in signing day? We're proud of everyone that signed. How about Todd Simons going to West Virginia University to be a Mountaineer? We saw Clay Medvec go in, staying at home at Youngstown State. There were a lot of people signing yesterday from the YSN family, and we tried to share as many of those stories as possible on our website and on our social media pages. So we appreciate the people that reached out to us and kept us informed, because it's impossible to see everybody because there's so many teams signing. So the people that reached out and said, hey, my son signed with this, we love that because that gives us the opportunity to share that on our socials.
Congratulations, Jane Bernard from Cardinal Mooney. She's going to be golfing at Malone College. I think that's a fantastic Fantastic decision to further her career. Kelly Hutton from Salem, a fantastic golfer for the Lady Quakers. She's staying home. She's going to be going to YSU. Maya McNevin is going to continue her basketball career from Austintown Fitch to Penn State Shenango. Marion Perkins will continue his football career at Wayne State, the Harding senior. Let's see, James Schaefer from Camel. He's going to play football at Grove City. That's a good D3 school. In the same conference as
you had the
Teal.
Tomcats on.
I got the Tomcats on, courtesy of my cousin Eric, who celebrated a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, big guy.
You're wearing his hoodie one day late then.
Well, I mean, Eric, it is what it is.
Happy belated
He's
birthday.
a big boy. He's about 6'8", 6'9". He's a big boy. Jacob Small. He's not big, but he's small. But he's going to go to Notre Dame College on a wrestling scholarship.
Well,
Congratulations to him.
He probably is kind of big.
Either that or he's technically sound.
I don't think I want to.
You do a little bit of both there.
I don't think I want to insult the size of a wrestler in any way, shape, or form.
No, not even the youngins.
Mr. Small.
Yeah, congratulations to you, sir. Congratulations. And I really like what Coach Phillips did at Youngstown State. He's picked up where then Coach Tressel, now President Tressel, has left off. Plant that flag in the state of Youngstown, put a 100-mile radius around the state of Youngstown, get most of your talent from that area, and I think that they did a nice job.
Absolutely, and they got a lot of good talent in the area from a couple of different schools as well. So he did a great job making sure that the local talent that fits his level did not leave Youngstown State.
And Cam Hollabot, congratulations to him. He is going to go on a dual scholarship.
To Walsh.
Yeah, Walsh University, which is a beautiful Catholic college in Canton. It's a D2 college. He'll have a football and a baseball scholarship. And truth be told, I know everyone knows Cam's a really good football player. I'm not convinced that's his best sport. I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's why
I'm
he's
not
on
convinced.
a dual scholarship.
I am not convinced that's his best sport.
That's why he's on a dual scholarship, because we haven't seen the best of Cam Hollabot in the baseball diamond yet, because he got robbed of his junior season last year in the spring. We saw him in Class B, and he did a lot of good things in that. But there's just something different about what a kid does in the high school realm, and we're going to get to see him shine this year as a senior for JFK baseball.
I got to knock on wood as we say that. I mean, we didn't have sports last year, so I got to knock on wood and hope and pray that we have it this year.
I'm almost certain we're going to have a full spring season.
Yeah, well, you're really tempting the baseball gods right now.
I know, but I just think that like the OHSA is going to be like, and we've heard them have conversations, because we were at the state football playoffs, and there were conversations with some people that they didn't understand what happened to spring sports last year. And the last thing they want is to have that happen to spring sports again. And we've said it before, baseball, softball, track, and field, those are three of the easiest sports to play during a pandemic, because most of the time you're socially distant from everybody on the field anyway. So you just socially distance the dugouts.
Yeah,
that's about all you have to really do. There's not a lot of complications in gameplay.
Yeah. That's the hardest part, though, because the dugouts really aren't that big, and if you're 6 feet from someone, you're not going to be able to put a whole lot of people in the dugouts.
Well, what you're going to see, I think you're going to see some players out of the dugout behind that fence that all the softball, baseball fields have.
Exactly.
And with limited fans, you're not going to be blocking anybody's view anyway, so I think that's what we'll probably see.
And it's tough to build some team morale and get people involved or into the process of playing the game. And when you're on the bench, you're supposed to be looking at the game and trying to figure out, especially when you're batting, when you're in the field and they're doing the whole when they're doing all that stuff. I mean, it's just you're trying to figure out what are they saying here? That's and you get that one decoder on the bench that can figure out how to steal a sign and whatnot.
Now you got the wristbands. Especially in softball, you got the wristbands that you can look at.
Yeah.
And the softball dugouts are always loud when they're in the condensed space. The softball cheering is one of the trademarks of the sport. They come up with very creative, off the cuff, cheers for every player. But now they're going to be spread out, so that sound is going to be even more echoing throughout the field. So
that's true.
I'm kind of excited about it.
That's true.
But the home plate celebrations are going to be a lot different. You're not going to see people run out and give someone a high five or
you can't do
home
that.
Run celebrations at the plate.
Yep.
That's the raw emotions of the game, because in softball and baseball they come a lot less often than in basketball and football and everything. I think it might be a little bit harder to watch kids try to fight that, because even in summer ball, especially in softball when it wasn't as regulated, it was just a travel tournament. It was hard for some kids to not go and high five the girl after they scored or whatever it may be. So you're gonna have to, especially in high school, these umps are gonna be really strict about keeping social distance. So it's going to be hard to see some players try to fight that urge to go celebrate with their team.
The one thing that we were all told as umpires, that you give the one kid a warning the first time, and then the second time, depending on how soon after the warning, you either lay the law down or you say, come on, this is your last warning. It's the spitting part of it. You're not allowed to do any spitting at all. So I was in the field more often than I was behind the plate. Well, I was never behind the plate, so it would be behind the mound. So naturally, if there's nobody out, the field umpire is positioned 15 to 20 feet behind the first base bag in foul territory. And if there's a ground ball, you make your way into fair territory around the first base bag, so you're in perfect position to see the ball hit the first baseman's mitt, and you can see the foot of the runner and the ball and the mitt all in one motion. Well, you get a good relationship if there's nobody out with the first baseman. So a couple of the first basemen, they're doing. No. Not in my house. You're not doing that. Can't do that. And it be but it's tough. It's because that is a habit. That is a part of baseball. I mean, it's a disgusting habit, but it's part of baseball where you're spitting. And that's second nature on a baseball field, especially if you have sunflower seeds in your mouth and you're trying to spit out the shell of the sunflower seeds. Now, there was the other thing. We had to lead by example. So we were not allowed to have sunflower seeds. Drove me absolutely crazy not to have sunflower seeds.
I got to do it.
Because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be chewing sunflower seeds, popping out the shells. I mean, what the hell? Why can't I do that? Well, you're not allowed to spit. So it was maddening last year watching baseball without all of the little intricacies.
It was really funny. In the major leagues, that lasted for about a week, and then all the players just stopped following the spitting protocol.
Oh, yeah. They were like, no, what are you going to do? Throw me out of a game? So they just kept doing what they're doing. So that is what it is. Man. But I did find some interesting things. Instead of high-fiving, kid will take the helmet off and they'll crack helmets.
Crack helmets, yep.
Which, okay, that was a pretty cool way of doing things.
But in baseball, because, for whatever reason, in baseball, the guys think it's they're too cool to go out and celebrate as a team for a home run, unless it's like a walk-off or something.
Yeah.
But every softball home run is celebrated like it's a walk-off. You see the whole team get off the bench and get on the home plate and circle it and everything. So it's going to be, I think, it's going to be fun to watch teams come up, because softball players are the most creative players on this planet. They'll come up with some crazy thing to do to celebrate a home run that stays socially distant.
All I know is I'm just looking forward to seeing Champion play softball. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that just...
And just when you think they're going to be down, I guarantee they're not. You're not going to hear their names. You don't know who they got. But I'm telling you, they're going to have a couple of more D1 caliber pitchers right in the back pocket after losing two D1 pitchers to graduation last year.
Well, one going to Youngstown State, and there's
Sophie
another.
Hook, yep.
There's another segue. We have sat back and we've talked about how the excitement level is for baseball, and the YSU baseball team was 7-7 prior to getting shut down. Listen, what has not been said nearly as much as it should. The YSU softball team was kicking everyone's butt I mean, they were off to an unbelievably good start before COVID shut them down. That's the one team where I'm looking forward every bit as much as the baseball team. That softball team has got talent.
They bring back a whole lot, too, and they're adding to their pitching staff. It's going to be a fun team to watch.
No, there's no two ways about that. That's going to be...
And then the Allison Smith going to Ohio State to pitch for the Buckeyes. That'll be someone we keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, there's going to be an awful lot of kids that will certainly be talking an awful lot about in their collegiate careers as they get out of high school and move on to college. And like we said, yesterday was the second part of National Letter of Intent Day, National Signing Day, if you will. So congratulations to all of those kids. Here's the basketball for tonight. Lisbon will be traveling to Youngstown to take on Valley Christian. This game starts at 6 o'clock, so I'm assuming it's varsity only tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
Niles will be at Jefferson. That is a 6:30 start. 6:45 start at the Fieldhouse. Lakeview will travel to Struthers. The rest of these games start at 7. That means that the JV game gets underway at 5:30. So the 7 o'clock start, give or take a couple of minutes. Salem is at Boardman. This is a really interesting benchmark game for both teams.
Right.
Because Salem is moving up a class. Boardman gets an opportunity to take on a really good Division II program to see just where they are in their quest to make some noise in the Division I tournament. So Salem goes to Boardman. Brookfield is at Champion. Newton Falls at Crestview. I'll have the game tonight and see if I have any Newton Falls gear. That will be.
I don't know if Coach Baker's going to get it that quick.
Yeah, I don't think he will. But I'm just looking forward to the Tigers gear. What
you
can I
might get
tell you?
pushed off that mezzanine by a Newton Falls person behind you in that Crestview.
Oh, that's not going to happen. That's good luck trying to push my fat ass over anything. That's not going to happen. Leetonia goes to East Palestine. Girard is at Hubbard.
Wait, let's stop. That Latonia East Palestine game, that's going to be a really good one. East Palestine, they haven't played a lot of games, but they're still very formidable. They were the season favorites before all this COVID stuff happened. When you looked at the EOHC and who was coming back, everyone said, well, man, East Palestine's got a really good chance to win that conference. So Latonia, a team that's really starting to put it together versus a team that's trying to find that groove and put the things together. That's going to be a really fun game between Latonia and East Palestine.
Let me just add this as a little caveat. Latonia played last night, so this is a back-to-back little thing. Put that in the back of your mind. This could be interesting in Palestine tonight. Girard is at Hubbard. This is going to be an interesting game. Western Reserve is at Lowellville. Lowellville, we've made mention. They don't have any height, but Lowellville can shoot themselves in just about any game if their perimeter game is on point.
Yeah, they have a couple of really good shooters, in my opinion. I think Sammy Moore is probably their best shooter from the spot, especially from the perimeter, but their point guard, Savannah Prochik, can shoot as well. And then the Coppola sisters, they're not tall, but they're still something to deal with down low in the post. So we've talked about the formula to beat Western Reserve before. The first thing you have to do is keep Danny Vuletic off the offensive glass, because so many of their points either come from her putbacks of offensive rebounds or finding wide open shooters off of offensive rebounds, because one, she's so tall. Two, she's so good at finding people after she gets a rebound. She doesn't panic. She doesn't bring the ball down. So keeping her off the offensive glass is a big point of emphasis when you're playing reserve. So if the Coppolas, number 40, number 30, can both try to keep her off the offensive boards, even cut her offensive rebounds in half, they're shooting. If they're hot, they can give reserve some problems.
Now, I don't want to put any thoughts into anyone's mind, but I'm just going to say
what
I would do.
A big scouting report.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would do. I mean, and far be it from me to tell anyone in Lowellville how to do their job, but if it were me, the Coppola sisters would be one in front, one behind Vuletic, and I'm playing a triangle defense the rest of the night.
A lot of teams try to do that, and you know what reserve does? They drain threes like crazy.
Well, exactly. That's where the triangle defense would have to be two kids,
right,
way up to the perimeter saying, "Don't you dare try this. We're going to be in your grill."
That's what everyone in the MVAC minus McDonald has to do against reserve, because you can't put her one-on-one. You just can't do it.
Yeah, you got to put two girls on her because she's that big and that feisty in the post game.
That's when the guards get open looks, and Pater can knock them down, and Kennedy Miller can knock them down, and Olivia Hughes can knock them down. So, and even Brooke Chance can knock down a three every now and then. So. Reserves that's why they're so tough to defend.
Yeah. This is an interesting EOAC matchup. Southern goes to Hanoverton to play United. This will be a fun game tonight.
And United, they need to win. They need to keep winning. They grabbed the top spot of the EOAC with a win over Valley Christian earlier this week. They got to keep rolling. And Southern comes in as a team that can really wreck a game with Ashley Schroed. So they got to keep focused and keep playing that great defense if you're the Eagles, and they can win the EOAC if they just take care of business.
The other EOAC game down on the river tonight, Columbiana is at Wellsville, and then by far and away the best game of the night, hands down, send home the jury. It'll be in Poland tonight. South Range, a healthy South Range team taking on a healthy Poland team. Let's just say that if I weren't in Crestview doing the Rebels game tonight, I would want to go to the South Range Poland game because this game has barn burner written all over it.
The anticipation of this game has been real. I mean, they were supposed to play, I think on January 4th was their first scheduled meeting. That got postponed due to COVID. And then they played about 2 minutes of a game a couple weeks ago. Obviously, Izzy Lamparty went down with a concussion, so they suspended that game. So now they're finally playing for the first time this season. They're both undefeated in the NE8. They're both coming off of big win streaks. It's just a marquee game that's been highly anticipated for the whole season. Poland has never lost inside the NE8. That includes 6 games against South Range. Their closest game was an 8-point win against South Range last year. So it's just one of those things. Can South Range finally knock down the big bullies of the NE8, or is Poland going to continue to dominate the conference as they have the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and it's round one.
Round one.
And
again,
here,
10 days later.
Yeah, and they go 10 days later, and here is where I will say I want to see, and it didn't happen at Poland. It happened at South Range. I want to see where Izzy Lamparty is mentally in this game when we start the game, when you get into the first quarter and play the first half of the first quarter. I want to see where she is. Has she now let that whole terrible ordeal get out of her mind? Because if she's on her A game the first quarter, then it tells me, okay, we're ready to play basketball.
That's one of the reasons why it was so important that South Range had a game before this. They got on the court on Saturday. Izzy Lamparty got to be on the floor, got to kind of shake off any mental blocks that there were. She scored 18 points, so I don't think there were a lot of them. So hopefully for the game's sake, she's mentally prepared for it, and she plays her A game. And Jackie Grisdale plays her A game, and we just have a knockdown, drag-out fight for the top of the NE8. That's what we're hoping for. And this could be low scoring because both defenses also play very good defense. I mean, last year the first matchup was 37-29 Poland.
I was going to say the first team to 40 wins tonight.
So it could be a barn burner. South Range can play that way.
Yeah.
They played it against Hoban, but it also could be very slow and very defensive and very every possession counts kind of game, and I'm sure that's what Poland wants because Poland's a lot better when they kind of slow you down and play half court and play deliberate offense.
Give me a low-scoring, points are hard to come by, every possession matters type of game because that just you're on the edge of your seat. Okay, yes, the points aren't flowing like a 95-91 game, but the defense isn't there. Give me a solid defensive effort where the possession is every possession means something. That just I'll take that game every day of the week.
If it goes the other way, Poland's in trouble because they don't want to get into a running match with South Range. They just don't.
Yeah.
So I think Poland wants to really slow the game down, and if I was South Range, I'd probably want to speed it up a little bit, try to transition Try to go as soon as you get rebounds. Try to go as soon as. What I love about South Range, and this is something you don't see a lot at this level, they're going as soon. Even if the other team makes the basket, they're going right off the inbound, and they're just going. They don't take the time to really slow down the game. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to see which team imposes which tempo more.
Take a page out of the Liberty playbook. The team or the player that's furthest away from the basket at the point of the shot takes off down the floor. As soon as the rebound is had, you're down the floor and ready for a cherry picking two.
Problem that Liberty had last night is they could not keep Jackie Grisdale off the offensive board. And when she got the offensive board, all of a sudden the numbers, it was 5 versus 4.
Yeah.
Because they had someone running down the floor. So if you can keep pulling off the offensive glass, which you look at the roster, you'd think, oh, this will be easy. You know, Jackie Grisdale's under 6 feet. Morgan Kluchar's their tallest player, like 5'10". Oh, we can rebound against this team. And then Jackie Grisdale goes and plays like a 6'3" post, and she gets rebounds that most guards can't get. It's inexplicable. It's one of those things.
Box out,
right?
And you have to be responsible
and it's
for
attitude. It's her attitude down low.
Yep.
Is better than any guard I've ever seen in personally in my life. Just the attitude to rebound from a guard is phenomenal from Jackie Grisdale.
Yeah, you have to be fundamentally sound to beat Poland because you have to box out. And yeah, you don't have eyes in the back of your head, but you can feel when a person is starting to move away from you, and you got to put your hips and your backside up against them and say, you're not getting this basketball.
Right.
It's all about attitude, and it's all about making sure that person is detached far, far away from that basketball.
Wild card tonight is Poland freshman Mary Brandt. She's a new variable that wasn't in the matchups last year, and she's the type of player that can take over a game if she gets confidence. So I think if you're looking for a wild card on one of the teams, it's that freshman.
Well, it's going to be a fun game, and just the first of 2 meetings between these two. And
I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Dre Smith coming up next. We'll talk YSU women's hoops. They split against Robert Morris. They are home this weekend. We'll get a scouting report with Dre, and we'll pile on Richie Giuliano, who ruined the winning streak on Friday.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline where we find the voice of the YSU women's sports, women's basketball program, I should say, Dre Smith. Dre, how are you today, sir?
Doing wonderful, guys. It's good to be with you, and it's good to be back calling some games this weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I was about to ask, are we going to hear you on the radio, or do we bring in the guy that's responsible for the broken the broken winning streak, Richie Giuliano? I mean, he's, it's not about YSU playing a bad game on Friday. No. This is all about Richie Giuliano ruining the YSU win streak.
Yeah, geez. I mean, 5 in a row, and we send Richie in, and it all goes to hell. But no,
It all goes to hell.
Richie did a great job, and that was a hard-fought series against Robert Morris. But I'm excited to be back, and I will be on the call for the radio games of this weekend against Purdue-Fort Wayne. So it's good to be back, and hopefully we can keep the winning ways going.
All right. Now, on a serious note, Purdue-Fort Wayne brings an awful lot to the table. Yes, they've struggled a little bit this year. And their program, like Detroit, there were whispers that program was going to shut down with some internal problems. What is the latest on Purdue-Fort Wayne from that perspective?
As far as I'm aware, they are continuing to play, and everything is full speed as normal. Obviously there was the article that came out a while ago in the Indy Star about some internal issues with head coach Nisi Nelson and the rest of the program. But as far as I'm aware, everything is full speed ahead, and we're ready to play this weekend. So, Purdue-Fort Wayne's a team that at 0-16 and 0-14 in league play, obviously you look at them and you feel like they're not much of a threat. But I'll tell you what, they play really hard. I got a chance to watch a couple of their games this past weekend against Wright State. And, they're outmatched against Wright State, obviously, just in terms of talent level. But they battled them. They were right there at halftime in game number 2 against the Raiders. They battled them in the second half. So this is a team that has taken some of the best teams in the league to some close games. So, and they're very young. That's the other thing about Purdue-Fort Wayne. They have 7 freshmen out of their 13 players. They have one of the youngest rosters in the nation. So a young team that is trying to find their way, but they play really hard. They're stingy defensively. They force a lot of turnovers. They like to pressure you on that end of the floor, and that's obviously caused some problems for YSU at times this year. So there's going to be some challenges, and when you play a team that's 0-16, there's nothing to lose. Purdue-Fort Wayne has nothing to lose. They're playing with a freedom, and YSU has to be prepared because that's a dangerous team when you face a team like that.
I'm looking at their schedule. They played Green Bay at home, lost by 11. They went to Oakland, lost by 9. As you mentioned, Wright State, they had them at home. This is a Wright State team that beat Youngstown State in Youngstown 2 times. They lost to Wright State by 10 points. So, yeah, they're winless this year, but they have been in some games and have played some pretty decent basketball against the best of the best in this conference.
Yeah, they really have. They faced a brutal schedule. I mean, when you look at some of the teams they've played, they've played some of the top teams in the league. And like I said, they're really young. 7 freshmen, 2 sophomores. They're the 9th youngest team in the nation. They have the 4th most freshmen of any team in the country. So they're really just trying to put it together. They do have some young, talented players. Riley Ott, who's a sophomore guard, is averaging almost 11 points per game. She was a member of the Summit League all-newcomer team last year, had 16 points in their last game. And they also, like I said, they like to pressure. They have a sophomore in Shayla Sellers, who is 3rd in the league in steals and 3rd in the league in blocks, so she's really good defensively. And they're going to throw some things at you. They're going to throw some full-court press at you, some half-court trapping, some different looks. And like Coach Barnes told me this week, he said that, when you face a team that's looking for their first win, they're going to throw everything in the book at you. They're going to try a little bit of everything. They're going to, throw things at you that you maybe haven't seen. They're just desperate to get that first win. So, Coach is kind of prepared for everything, and, he feels like they're a dangerous team at this point, just given, their record and how bad they want to get a win. So I know he's taking them very seriously this week in practice, and if Youngstown State can come out and just play their game, they should be fine. But this is a team you got to be ready for.
I know you weren't on the call this weekend, but I'm sure you were watching and very closely. Who are some players that or performances that stuck out to you over the weekend in the split with Robert Morris?
There were a couple, and I felt like the series overall very positive. Obviously, a tough loss on Friday, 61-46, and I just didn't feel like we matched Robert Morris's pressure and their intensity. You got to remember, Robert Morris is a team that absolutely dominated the Northeast Conference over the last couple of years. This is a program that did not lose a lot of games under head coach Charlie Buscaglia in the last few years. They're a really good program. When you look at their record and they're 3-9, it's a little misleading, but it's similar to Purdue-Fort Wayne. Robert Morris has played a lot of the best teams in the league, a lot of the best teams on the road. Their schedule has been really tough. So I look at that series against Robert Morris, as a really tough series against a really good team. And, to lose on Friday and to bounce back on Saturday the way they did with a 71-64 win after being down 11 at halftime and finding a way to mount the comeback, I thought it was really positive. Showed a lot of resilience, a lot of toughness that I think that will bode well for the team the rest of the way. And really the biggest performance that stuck out to me was Mary Dunn. The senior had 25 points and 11 rebounds in game number 2. She was 9 for 9 from the free throw line. And she'll admit she did not play her best game in game number 1. Coach Barnes said that. He said, we really needed Mary to step up. And she struggled in game number 1, but came back with a huge performance in game 2 with season highs of 25 points and 11 rebounds. And I thought that Chelsea Olsen was phenomenal in game number 2. She had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, just continues to be one of the most versatile players in the Horizon League and really in the country. And then Nneka Obi-Izer, who was phenomenal again, averaged 15.5 points and 8.5 rebounds. And what can you say about the freshman as she continues to dominate? So those three really carried us. I believe they scored 91 of our 117 points in the 2 games combined. So they really carried us. And guys, this team really just continues to go as the seniors go. Nneka Obi-Izer's been playing consistent, but it seems that when the seniors, Mary Dunn, McKenna Peters, Chelsea Olsen, there's no hiding that. This team goes as the seniors go, and they stepped up big on Saturday.
Dre, I'm looking at the standings right now. Northern Kentucky has only played 6 games in the league. They're 6-0. Milwaukee 12-2. Wright State 11-3. IUPUI started out hot as a firecracker. They're cooled off considerably. They're 7-3. Green Bay 8-4, and then you have the Penguins at 6-4. YSU has the remaining games on their schedule all winnable games. I mean, they're taking on a winless Purdue-Fort Wayne team this weekend. I know that they have a couple of other teams below them in the standings before the tournaments get around. There's a pretty good chance that Youngstown State can finish in the top 5, maybe in the top 4, depending on what they do the remaining games. But certainly with 6 games left, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Penguins to finish this regular season at 10-6 in the Horizon League, which would be a pretty good, impressive record.
Yeah, no, there's opportunity out there for sure. And I think that you look at Purdue-Fort Wayne this weekend, obviously 2 very winnable games on paper. And then you go to IUPUI, which will be really tough. But as you mentioned, they've shown some chinks in the armor. And I think YSU has always competed well against IUPUI. Even last year, they beat them at home, when IUPUI was the clear-cut league favorite and went on to win the championship. We always play IUPUI tough. I think we have good matchups against them. And then you come home against Cleveland State for 2 games. You're at home. 2 very winnable games there. So you're right. There's an opportunity for YSU to really improve their seeding. As you take a look at the seeds right now, because it's interesting, they're actually doing the seeding for the championship bracket different from the actual standing. So they're going to take like a weighted RPI average for every team, and that's how the seeding is going to be based, just to account for teams playing different amounts of games. And so it's a little bit different. When you look at the standings and then you look at the seeding, it's a lot different. YSU currently would be the 8th seed. IUPUI would be the 5th seed. Green Bay 4, Northern Kentucky 3, Wright State 2, and Milwaukee number 1. So it's a little bit wonky how they're doing it this year with a kind of a weighted average. But YSU right now would be the 8th seed. But when you look at these teams, with Oakland and Cleveland State above us at 6 and 7, the records are really, really close, and YSU has a chance to play Cleveland State. So you're going to have an opportunity to improve your seeding here. And if you can be in that top 8, which YSU is right now, that would get you a first-round home game in the Horizon League tournament. And then if you can get in that top 5, then you get a bye to the quarterfinals. And really right now I would say anywhere from 5 to 9 is really wide open in the standings. So there's a lot of room for YSU to make some moves here. If they could get that first-round bye to the quarterfinals, that would be huge. That's one less game you have to play, and you're one step closer, to getting to Indianapolis in the semifinals. So a lot of big games coming up, and I think this year more than ever, the tournament is going to be crazy. I really think that so many of these teams are closely matched at the top. I mean, you have a number of good teams that have all played great games. Then in the middle, you have a lot of teams that are really, really closely matched. And even at the bottom, you have a Robert Morris team that is really pesky and really tough. Purdue-Fort Wayne is tough to play against. And even UIC, has shown with their full court pressure that they can be tough to go against. So I think it's going to be any game will be wide open. I think any matchup could go either way. And I think tournament time is going to be a lot of fun. So even more so than in past years, I think everything's wide open. And YSU, in a one-game setting, will have a chance against anybody.
Dre, we've been talking to high school coaches all week, and their tournament for the girls starts in just over a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. When do you think this coaching staff for YSU, you want to take everything one game at a time, but when does the tournament and their seeding and the matchups they might have start to pop into the back of their head?
It's funny. I talked to Coach Barnes about that this week, and he doesn't want to talk about it. He is completely locked in to one game at a time. I think he realizes that, this team, can't be looking ahead, especially at this level and in this league when every team is so closely matched. He really just wants to focus on one game at a time, and everything else will take care of itself. So he is solely focused on Purdue-Fort Wayne. And I think that's the right mindset. I think that when you start thinking about seeding and tournament time and all of that, I think sometimes it can take the focus away from what you're trying to accomplish. So I think that he is locked in on Purdue-Fort Wayne, and then it'll be IUPUI and then Cleveland State, and then we'll start thinking about seeding. So I think it's always in the back of the minds of the coaches, kind of knowing where you're at. But anything can happen this year, and I think he realizes that while we've played well at times, we're not good enough to overlook any opponent. Anybody can come in and beat us. We can beat anybody. So I think it's a sole focus right now on the games in front of us.
He has to be feeling really good. He, being Coach Barnes, has to be feeling really good about the fact that the Penguins are 6-1 in their last 7 games. And, truth be told, you go back to the first 3 games of the season, Youngstown State had an opportunity to win 2 of those 3 games. So 6-4, but 6-1 in their last 7 games. Hey, this team's playing really, really good basketball right now.
They are, and I think the biggest thing is that I think everybody's settling into their roles. I think you're starting to see the rotation start to get defined a little bit. I think girls know what's expected of them. Girls know what their role is. I was talking to Aaliyah Magestro, freshman, this week, and she said that for her, she understands that when she comes in the game that her role is to hit open shots and get the ball inside to NECA and Mary and hit open shots when they're there and play hard defense and just not do too much. And I think that everyone's starting to kind of find their roles a little bit. I think Mary is getting more comfortable, having 25 points and 11 rebounds on Saturday. Hopefully that gives her some confidence moving forward, because we're going to need her, especially this week against Purdue-Fort Wayne. They're a very undersized team. They only have a couple of players over 6 feet, so we have some opportunities to get the ball inside and really pound them down low. And Mary's going to be a big part of that. NECA's going to be a big part of that. But I think this whole team is just kind of settling into their roles and what role they play on the team. And you're starting to build some confidence. Obviously, when you're down by 11 at halftime on Saturday, it would have been very easy for the team to say, well, it's just not our weekend. We lost game 1. Let's pack it in, 2 losses, and head back home. But they didn't. Down by 11 at halftime, they found a way. Continued battling, showing grit and toughness, and I think that was the most encouraging thing for me to see was just, seeing the players dig deep and find a way to win when the odds were kind of stacked against them. So that's a big sign, because if you're going to make a run here toward the end of the year and into the tournament, you're going to need to come from behind. You're going to need to face some adversity and come through that, and I think they did that this past weekend. So that was a great sign.
Well, since you talked to her this week and her dad got her his 200th career win at Kennedy Catholic earlier this week, let's talk about Miss Magistro and what you've seen from her. And I'm really impressed on how quickly she's adapted to this new role because, man, in high school she had so much on her shoulders. She had to go and score 20 points a game for her team, and now she just has to come off the bench and hit open shots. What have you seen from her to make that kind of mental adjustment and to really accept her role this year as a freshman?
Yeah, she's done a great job. You know, she's a player, obviously, as you mentioned, that came in with a ton of accolades. I mean, one of the most heralded careers in Western Pennsylvania history. I mean, state player of the year, over 2,100 points in high school, 11 school records. I mean, it's just amazing what she accomplished. So there was a lot of expectation for her coming in. And, you know, she started the season opener, which a lot of freshmen, you know, that's not something that happens a lot. So that was big for her to be in the starting lineup and be a big part of this team early in her career. And, you know, I think that she's adjusting to the physicality and the speed of the game. Talking to her, I think that's the one thing that she really talked about was just how, you know, at this level, everyone is fast, everyone's quick, everyone's strong. The game moves at a different speed. You know, when you come from high school to college, no matter what level you played at or how great you were in high school, it's an adjustment. And I think she's starting to get used to the physicality, used to the speed. And she's a great offensive player. I mean, when you see her, you know, she takes advantage of her opportunity. She's shooting 49% from the floor overall, shooting 63% from 3 points. She's 10 of 16 from downtown, which leads the team. And so she's made the most of her opportunities, and that's impressive. You know, she's made a three-pointer in 7 of her last 8 games. So she's not doing too much. You know, she understands when she comes in that she doesn't have to score 20 like she did in high school, as you mentioned. That it's just hit your open shots, play smart, get the ball to the other players. And she's done a great job accepting her role, and I think she's starting to improve on the defensive end. You know, the defensive end, talking to the coaches, is always where freshmen struggle the most. There's just so much more detail at the college level in terms of scouting reports and understanding weaknesses and knowing where to be and the amount of work that goes into a defensive system. And I think she's learning that. She's done a great job. And I think as time goes along and she gets more opportunities in her career, she's going to become a big-time scorer. I mean, I think that we see that the talent is there. And once she becomes, you know, more of an upperclassman and some other players move on and it's more of her show, I expect her to become a pretty dynamic offensive weapon. But she's done a great job just accepting her role, and she's a big part of this team.
Dre Smith, the voice of the YSU women's basketball program, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And it's interesting. Yesterday, National Letter of Intent Day for a lot of programs. And, you know, we have been sitting back and saying in so many sports, the state of Youngstown, if I can quote President Tressel, you plant the flag, put a 100-mile radius around the state of Youngstown and grab a lot of your recruits from there. It can be done in girls basketball, especially when you go over to Western PA. You know, young Miss Magistro is quite the talent. She has a teammate that is a junior at Kennedy Catholic that is quite the talent in Bella DiNardo. There is an awful lot of talent in a 100-mile radius of Youngstown that is more than capable of donning the red and white and continuing the terrific tradition that is becoming YSU basketball. Not to mention the fact we got a great Wisconsin connection. And now, when you bring in Obiizer, hopefully a North Dakota pipeline is coming forth. There's a lot of great areas where Coach Barnes has made some inroads with recruits.
No, they've done an amazing job, and you know it's interesting. They've kind of taken some different routes. You know, obviously you have a player like Malia who is from the area in Hermitage, not too far from Youngstown, and then you have some players from Wisconsin, as you mentioned, and McKenna Peters is from the Cleveland area. So I think they've done a nice mix. You know, I think that they found a pipeline in Wisconsin, which has been valuable. Obviously, look at Chelsea Olsen and what she's become, and some of the young players, and Neko Obiizer from Minnesota. So they've done a nice mix. It's tough. I think that at our level, you're looking for some players that maybe slip through the cracks and aren't recruited by some of the bigger schools. And I think they've done a nice job identifying players like that. And the Wisconsin connection is huge because you look at some of the basketball talent that comes out of there. I mean, Green Bay has run the Horizon League for 20-some years, and most of their talent is from Wisconsin. You know, Milwaukee is one of the best programs in the league, and they primarily recruit the state of Wisconsin. So, you know, I think it was smart to go up there and create a pipeline and, you know, create, a recruiting trail there to Youngstown, because there's clearly some good basketball players in the state of Wisconsin, but it's important to recruit locally as well. And I think Malia is a big part of that. And, you know, it's a mix. Yeah, I think they've done a good job of kind of identifying some different areas, and hopefully we can recruit even more locally. I know it's something that the coaching staff wants to do, but it just depends on if the player fits and, if it works out. So sometimes that's not the case, but, you know, I know they want to focus locally, but also, you know, look outside of the state as well. And I think they've done a nice job of creating that balance in recruiting.
You know, I know that during the season, you know, the focus is so intent on their team and their program, but, you know, talking about recruiting, do the coaches keep a little bit of an eye on a little bit of a tentacles and whatever you want to call it on high school scores and what high school people are doing in the area to try to keep a gauge on who to watch for and who to look at?
Oh, of course. That's one thing that I've been amazed by, you know, just being around the coaches for the last few years and being around the program. It's a never-ending process with recruiting. I mean, they are constantly, you know, making phone calls and watching scores and seeing players and you know, in a normal non-COVID time, you know, when we go out on road trips, you know, Andy Crane, the recruiting coordinator, and some of the other coaches are always, you know, taking rental cars to go watch other players, go recruit players in other states and watch high school games. It's a never-ending process. You know, the recruiting process is something that I've been amazed by. You know, it's something that is so important to the program. It's the lifeblood of every program. It's, you know, the kids you're bringing in, and it never ends. You know, it's something that Coach Crane is always working on. Coach Barnes is always working on recruiting, and it's a balance of staying focused on the game that you're playing and the season you're in, but also working on recruits and make sure you're building the roster for the future, because players are going to move on and you're going to need to fill those spots. So it's amazing, you know, the work that goes into it, the amount of time that is spent on it, and they've done a great job, you know, bringing quality athletes into Youngstown State. That's another thing that, you know, I don't know if the coaching staff gets enough credit for, is just the academic work that their team has done. You know, they're not just looking for good basketball players. They're looking for great students, you know, great community members, and people who want to represent Youngstown State in the right way. And they've done a tremendous job of that. This team's been in the top 10 of the country in GPA 4 of the last 5 years. They were second in the nation last year in GPA. So, you know, not only are they bringing in good basketball players, and obviously you want to win, and that's your primary goal, but they've brought in great representatives of Youngstown State University, and I think they should be commended for that.
Dre Smith joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. 6 games left before we get to the tournaments, and an opportunity for the Penguins to keep the momentum going and hopefully get a higher seed when we get into the tournament. I love the weighted system that they're using. I just it's hampering Youngstown State, though, because they did not play a non-conference schedule, and because they didn't play a non-conference schedule, it's definitely hurting the Penguins.
Yeah, and that's the thing that is tough. You know, when you look at Northern Kentucky, I mean, they're 6-0 and just beat Milwaukee twice, but yet when you look at the seeding, you know, they're the number 3 seed. I'm trying to get it in front of me right now. They're the number 3 seed, yeah, and they're 6-0, you know, undefeated in league play, but they've only played those 6 games. And it's really not fair to other teams that have played 12, 14 games, whatever it may be. So that's why you see them third, even though they're undefeated in league play. So it's going to work against some teams. It's going to help other teams. I think that, you know, but as long as you take care of business and win the games in front of you, I think that, you know, it'll work out. And road wins are a premium in this formula, from what I understand. You know, road wins are weighted very heavily. So when Youngstown State goes to IUPUI, you know, next week, they're going to have a couple of big opportunities in front of them. You know, if they can get 1, maybe 2 on the road against IUPUI, those wins would count very heavily with that system and would probably help it with the seeding. So some big games coming up, and you know, you just got to take one game at a time, but YSU definitely has an opportunity here to get in pretty good position for the league tournament.
And all the positioning and seeding, but everybody knows once the tournament starts, it's all about who's playing better at the end of the season. And I think that's all the Penguins care about is they're 6-1 in their last 7. They're starting to play really good basketball, and you can put them wherever you want. If they're playing like this, then they're going to be a tough out no matter what seed they're in.
Oh, you're no doubt. And you hit it on the head. I mean, it's really who's playing the hottest right now. You know, you look at Northern Kentucky, they were down for a couple weeks because of COVID issues, but they come back and beat Milwaukee 2 in a row. I mean, they're playing hot. You know, Wright State's playing well. So it really comes down to who's playing well. And we've seen it in the past where, you know, YSU, when they got hot toward the end of the year, and it's carried over into the tournament. So I think that's what they're focused on right now is playing their best basketball. And I think this team, with every game they play, they get better. You know, they still haven't played the same amount of games as Wright State or even Purdue-Fort Wayne or some of these other teams. YSU still is kind of behind the 8 ball when it comes to games. So I think Coach feels like with every game they play, they get more experience, they get more comfortable with each other, and just get more confident. So there's a great chance that YSU could be playing some great basketball coming down the stretch here, and hopefully that carries over into tournament time.
Hey, best of luck to you as you get back in the airwaves and call a great weekend of basketball at Beagley. And in the future, keep the microphone away from Richie, okay?
Well, we don't want Richie ruining our plans here. No.
Yeah, there you go.
He did a phenomenal job.
He really did. I'm impressed every time he does a basketball game or a sporting event. He does such a great job, and I love teasing him about the fact that he broke this streak, but the reality is he's pretty good at what he does.
No, he is. He did a great job, and I couldn't ask for somebody to fill in and do a better job, so I was really, really proud of him, and brought home a big win on Saturday, so that was big, and now I'm happy to be back, and hopefully a couple more wins this weekend.
All right, Dre, always a pleasure, kid.
Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys.
All right, see you. Dre Smith, the voice of the YSU women's basketball program on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Yeah, we're giving Richie all kinds of grief.
Well, you know what? When you're that good, you have to be taken down a peg a couple times.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you have to make us bottom dwellers feel good, you know, about ourselves.
Well, wait a second. I'm no bottom dweller here. What is it?
Compared to
hold on a second now.
Compared to Richie, I mean, Richie's skill is like whoop whoop whoop.
Well,
he's off the charts, man. No, you know what I'm saying.
330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. I believe I was just given a backhanded compliment again. You're pretty good at that stuff. I didn't think about that for a couple minutes ago. I think my man just gave me a backhanded compliment. Oh, all right. I see how you are. Oh, Lordy.
Very passive-aggressive.
Yeah, passive-aggressive here. All right. We'll take a timeout and be back with more. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point as I attempt to run this guy into a mountain and down a hill.
Good try.
Yeah, we'll put you down a hill somewhere.
You will try.
All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Stick around.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoot News all season long on 21 Sports.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. With you till 3 o'clock, at which time the Power Hour, DJ and the fellas. Power Hour. The Power Hour will be up at 3 o'clock. Get in the chopper. It's your only way out.
You beat me to it. I was going to be like, get in the chopper.
Oh, Lordy. Can you imagine if Arnold ever got in trouble with his now ex-wife, Maria?
Go Chargers.
He has a dozen roses. I am so sorry, Maria.
Anyway, back to sports. We had a couple of good, since we have about, 10 minutes or 15 until we head out of here and get ready for Power Hour. We had a couple of good social media questions the last 2 days, and I kind of want to get your take on them.
All right, let me hear it.
So they're both related to each other. Yesterday was, out of all the girls coaches in the YSN family, who would you most want to be coached by?
Oh boy,
and there's a lot of good coaches.
There's some really good coaches. The guests that we had today, two of them. Both of them.
Mark Baker seemed like a guy I could really get along with. That was a fun conversation.
And not because he's giving me gear from Newton Falls.
Of course not.
Not at all. Obviously, Coach Baker at Newton Falls, Coach Ritz at Leetsonia, Coach Lisa Ratuno-Medelsky in Lowellville. I think that she can be someone that you would want your kids to play for. Good Lord, there's the coach at Boardman.
Yep.
For the toughness part of it.
Brett Green. Yep.
Brett Green. I love his mentality that he's bringing into Spartan Nation, which is needed. I love those kind of coaches.
I tell you, I've had a chance to do a couple Liberty games over the last 2 years. Coach Watson down there, she seems like a really fun person to be coached by. You know, she has the standard. She makes you live up to it. But, man, did she have fun and is she charismatic on the sidelines? I'm sure you saw it in the game against Crestview. Yeah. She'll pace down the sidelines and she'll joke with her players about a play. And it was really fun to be on the broadcast, like right in front of their bench, to really kind of see some of the characteristics of her. And really, I had a chance to broadcast right in front of Lowville's bench. And Modelski is one of the ones that really wears her emotions on her sleeves, and probably one of the reasons why she got ejected. But,
well, you know, but the feisty side, Italian attitude, right, which is wonderful. I am similar thing. You see something that you don't like, and you get a short fuse, and things are done.
You can tell the players would go to war for her.
Absolutely.
Which is what happens when you have coaches that aren't afraid to show their passion and don't keep anything really bottled in. And so, yeah, I think those are good choices.
I think Jeff Fischel is another one at South Range. I saw the kid growing up and play basketball at South Range High School, and I think that while it was a very strange decision for South Range to move on from Tony Matisse, who was another very good coach that I would want to play for, it definitely worked out. Tony's in a great situation in McDonald, and Jeff Fischel is doing remarkable things at South Range.
And those are two right there that would be at the top of my list. I also want to give a shout out to Matt Reel at Canfield.
Absolutely.
I remember he started his career at South Range, and he notices a lot of small things that other coaches don't notice. Like, I went to a lot of games as a freshman in high school, and the coach, when a head coach comes up to a student and notices that student's at all the games and thanks him for the support and everything, that just shows you the coach's attention to detail and his ability to notice the little things. And Coach Reel's been a good friend ever since I left high school, and he does a great job with Canfield. And I always like coaches that are also teachers because they see both sides of the athlete and the student. They get to see him in the classroom. We talked about that with Coach Baker today. When you're able to see both sides of a student-athlete, and they know you as not just Coach Reel, they know you as Mr. Reel in the classroom, I think that's a big advantage. So I want to give him a shout-out. And, of course, Coach Blanche has just done a great job building a program at Poland and getting people to buy into a philosophy that really stamps in family.
Yeah.
And every coach will say, oh, we're a family. But you can tell at Poland it's just a unique situation because every player cares about each other in a way that you don't see too often. They all accept their roles, no matter if they're seniors, freshmen, it doesn't matter. The bench energy is great at Poland. And the one thing that I saw that really stuck it to me was last year when they lost by 1 to West Branch in the district finals. They came back to the gym and spent like an hour playing with each other in the gym just for that one last gasp of being with each other. And a lot of teams would just be upset and go home and kind of lick their wounds a little bit to after a tough loss like that.
Sure.
When you're on the free throw line to win the game and you don't hit the free throws to win, that's a tough game to swallow. And the fact that team was more concerned about let's have one last moment together as a team, as a family, really spoke wonders to what Coach Blanche has built that goes past wins and losses. So there's a lot of great coaches on the girls' side that I would gladly be coached by if I were a basketball player.
And one of the reasons why our basketball in the area is on the uptick, it's the coaches, both the boys and girls coaches. We have some quality coaches in the area. There's no two ways about that. What was the second question?
The next one was the same question, but boys coaches.
Well, it's right now. It's hands down. Send home the jury, and I will put him in my top 4. This is a no-brainer. And yes, he's in his last year. But Ken Grisdale is in my Mount Rushmore of coaches in the area. In my 45 plus years of watching high school basketball. I'll put him above anyone. And there's some big names right now in the boys' side that I absolutely love what these coaches are doing with their programs. But Ken Grisdale right now for me is the guy.
Yeah, and it's obvious. I mean, he's like the shining star of because the 500 wins. And I love the conversation you had with him last week where he said, coaching will always be a part of him. And just because he's leaving the Poland program and taking a pause doesn't mean he's going to stop coaching. I mean, him and his wife, both of them, they live and breathe basketball. So they'll find a court somewhere and they'll coach somebody. I am sure of that. As soon as Jackie Grisdale is done with playing and they don't have to support her anymore as a basketball player, they'll be back to coaching because they live and breathe for it. And one of the other boys coaches that I think maybe gets a little bit underlooked in the last couple of years, especially because of the success of the football program, is Coach French at Springfield.
I agree.
I mean, way under the radar. I would love to be coached by that man, and he's done a great job with that program because it's hard to take a team that wins so much in football and then get those kids to gel with the kids that are just basketball players and have the same standard leak through. And it's a great job to get the best out of both. He gets the best out of players like R.J. Smith and Alex Rothwell, and he gets the best out of the same players as Bo Brungard and Clay Medvac and the players that are on the football team that come in and leak into that winning culture. So I think he does a great job at Springfield, and he's one of my honorable mentions. And then we can't not mention Coach Collin because he's
absolutely. I mean, he's the godfather of everyone in the area, and his coaching tree is crazy good. So there's no two ways about that. He's on that list as well. But and it's so easy to not dismiss, but it's so easy to sit back and go, well, Boardman's having a really good year, and they've had a really good year for a number of years. Coach Birch has done an amazing job, and obviously the job that Struthers is doing right now. It's hard to look at those two programs and Cheney and all the other programs that you expected great things from. Coach Francis Shelley in McDonald.
Oh, wow.
It's hard not to look at those programs and say, well, hell yeah, I want to play for those coaches.
And then when it comes to this one quality that I think this particular coach rises above is just holding the kids to an incredible standard and being very firm in that standard. Coach Gunther at Ursuline and what he does with those kids, and to just say this is our standard on this team and you are either going to meet it or you're just not going to play. Period. Straight up. No ifs and buts. I really like Coach Gunther in that quality. And you've talked to him earlier this season, and he bleeds that, and he has a certain way of thinking. He has a certain philosophy, and he holds his kids to a very high standard that they probably wouldn't hold to themselves without him pushing it.
Keith has a very high BS meter.
Right.
He knows truth from BS better than most coaches in the area, and I respect anyone that has that very high bar, not on the court. The things going on off the court.
Yes.
You are going to be held to a very high standard off of this basketball floor. Forget about your basketball abilities. I could not care less about your athletic abilities, your basketball abilities. If you are not at this high level of standards that I'm setting for every single one of you, I don't care about your basketball talent at that point. If you're not here, you're not going to be playing basketball for me. I like that. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that a lot, actually.
Yeah, and it's another quality that builds a strong program is making sure that the kids are staying right off the court, and he does a great job of it.
Yeah. One of the coaches that we had on today was talking about the things that this pandemic may have taught us. And I've often wondered, and maybe this is a conversation for us next week when you're back in the studio. I've often wondered why, instead of spending an hour and a half, 2 hours on the basketball floor, why you don't pull kids off of the floor, go into a classroom, and start handing out information. This is how we're going to run our offense. Diagram A, diagram B, diagram C. And we're basically talking about this before we go back on the floor to run this. Here's what we're going to do. This is the offense that we have. And you pass out this information, and everyone keeps like a notebook. This is your
Right.
For lack of a better term, this is your playbook. This is your offense, the defenses we're going to run. We're going to get all this information on paper, put it in your folder, and you will have your folder with you at all times. We'll have a classroom setting as well as a basketball court setting where we're going to practice. For the life of me, I've never understood why more coaches have not done that.
I think a lot of coaches would love to, but the thing is, you don't get a lot of time. You know, you get a practice that's maybe an hour and a half. You get gym time.
Yeah.
And one of our coaches, I think it was Newton Falls, said he's only been in the gym 8 times
days.
with it. So practice is a lot more treasured that hour and a half in a gym. You know, when you're in college, you can work with your team all day as long as they're not. You know, you can give them the binder with the scouting reports, and they can study it all week, and you can have a film session for an hour, and then you can go practice for an hour, and then you only get those kids in high school for a very small amount of time in the gym. So you really have to prioritize what you're working on and how you're building. And trust me, when tournaments come around and the things slow down, and you only have one game maybe a week, that kind of stuff gets a lot more common where they'll take and they'll do the film session and they'll have kids break down the defense and they'll try to get into the classroom setting. But when you're in the thick of a season, especially this year, when you're playing 3 or 4 games a week, there's just not the time.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact you want to get those kids into the weight room.
Right.
Because you want to get them stronger as well. So it's the time is not really a huge factor for them, and unless you do some of this stuff early in the morning before school.
Right. And I know a lot of coaches give the kids a pamphlet to read over during the JV game, like a scouting report, so they can get mentally right before the game. And Newton Falls, Coach Baker told about he has the mental exercises before the game that he makes his team do, and I think that's a great idea. I think more coaches should do that.
That's on that note. We'll get out of here and enjoy the rest of the day because I got basketball tonight at Crestville. You got a basketball game. Which game are you doing tonight?
South Range.
Oh, let's look at you. How did you pull those strings to get that game? Yeah.
Longevity.
What, did you give someone a backhanded compliment? And okay, I see how you work.
Tenure. I think I would just want to thank the coaches for giving us their time today, because I know time is very limited in the middle of the season. So thank you to Coach Ken Forsyth and Mark Baker especially, who took his planning period to talk with us as a teacher. So I love it when we're able to get coaches on that are also teachers. Their time is so valuable, and the fact that they're able to give it to us, it's kind of humbling.
You go ahead and do your South Range Poland game. I'll have my Newton Falls gear.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll gladly take my gear over your game tonight.
You might get, like I said, pushed instead of gear.
Who knows?
You show up to that game in Crestview stuff, they might be throwing stuff at you from the.
Hey, listen. All I know is that Crestview Poli is very comfortable.
Newton Falls fans are going to set up the Muppets in the other corner. The best part of this broadcast was the end of it.
I haven't heard that one before in my life. Yeah. All right, that'll do it for the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do it again tomorrow from noon until 3, a Friday edition of Running Point. Anthony will be he'll be happy that his team is going to be going into the Super Bowl. We can't even talk about Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
Let's go.
Yeah.
65 toss power trap.
65 toss power trap. It's going to break open soon here. I can just smell it. DJ and the fellas coming